Welcome back to the channel. This is Trinity Storm and you are watching second part of What If Naruto Had a Leveling AI. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
4 months have passed since Team 7's return from the Wave Country mission. Except for Heishi and the people in the Hokage's office that day, nobody knew that Naruto and Samus were using the private area. After Naruto gave Hinata some advice, she became much more confident and Team 8's skills improved. Rin almost castrated Kakashi every day, so he stopped being late. Within a week, he discovered. Kakashi now showed up at the meeting of Team 7. Yo, Sakura, Naruto, and Sasuke turned to face him. He took out 3 pieces of paper and said, I signed you up for the Chunin exams. I thought you should know, there will be no more missions for the next week. These are your applications. Head to room 301 in 3 days at 1500. Everyone, including Sakura, took their application and immediately signed it. Kakashi's eyebrow went up. Just like that? You're not even going to think on it? Sakura acknowledged, we already did. I was hesitant at first, but then Naruto showed me how much I've truly improved. We can handle it. I thought so. It's why I recommended you. Someone thought it was a bad idea, huh? Was not so much a question as a statement. Iruka Amino was the one with the problem. He said that none of his students were ready. He was most worried about you, Naruto. He's been like a brother to me all this time. I'm not surprised. Naruto sighed. Sadly, I haven't given him an update for my skills. My aim had severely increased, as did my suit arsenal. He's aware of Samus, though. Kakashi inquired, speaking of which, where is Samus? Naruto just gave a shrug. She's out of town. She's a bounty hunter. She'll be back in about 4 days. And the X? They'll be coming with. They have some abilities, and have been flying around the village a lot more these days. Sakura said, oh, how come I haven't seen them? Naruto grinned and said, natural cloaking. I can still see them when they use it, but I need to have my suit active. I can still talk to them, though only if they start the conversation. And missile count? I can carry 400 in the suit, not counting the ones I use chakra for. The Imperialist, however, is great for long-range use. At point blank, let's just say that whatever is hit at that close is doomed. I also replicated Haku's bloodline as another weapon. Apparently, the Ice Beam, and a weapon that Aunt Samus came across a while back was made from it. It was called the Judicator. With X's help, I managed to recreate that weapon without knowledge of it. Funny thing about that. It can pierce through like Senbon, and accuracy is a lot harder to get down. Still, it's great for instant kills, or incapacitation. With a nod, Sasuke asked, so, if you hit a vital with it, they're dead? Think you can get me one of them? Without the suit, I mean. Naruto let out a sigh. It'll take a few years to recalibrate the systems, alter the form, and make it so that things are more to your speed. Sadly, there's nothing I can do at this point. The physical material is the problem. Programming is not much of a problem. It's making sure everything works as it should, that's the problem. The only known materials here can't handle what is required. I've actually taken the liberty of trying to do so with the Imperialist. Not much luck, at the moment. His fingers snapped. You still up for taking out Itachi? A hand was placed on his shoulder by Naruto. You know I wouldn't abandon you there. But remember, I'm not letting you go after him alone. We do this together. Orphan to orphan. We are more than a team. We're a family, and yes, that includes Sakura. Sasuke grinned and returned the gesture. As long as I get the final blow, I have no complaints. As Sakura put it, and you'd get it. Thanks for the earth jutsu, by the way, Sasuke. They're easier now. Sasuke asked, can you do them without hand signs? Sakura acknowledged, no, but I can just use one hand sign for all of them. Naruto noted, hey, I can use any wind jutsu under a rank with the wrong hand signs. I think I can do it without hand signs. I really have a high affinity for wind. I have mastered the water jutsu as well, since I can use them without hand signs, but not with the wrong hand signs. Kakashi let out a whistle. That's impressive, Naruto. How did you get that good with wind jutsu? It's my main element, and I've gone above and beyond wind comprehension of the shinobi. Once I get the jutsu down, I try to use nature manipulation to reverse engineer them. That's what I did with wind jutsu, and I've got only one wind jutsu that's a rank or higher. That one, I made without hand signs. Sakura whistled, as did Sasuke. I know, badass. Too bad I don't know what I could do with it. 1000 shadow clones for 5 hours a day does that. Kakashi grinned. You know, Naruto, that right there is overkill. Naruto shot back, True, but when have I ever cared about that? Sakura conceded. He's got a point, sensei. He doesn't care about overkill. You're Fuinjutsu. I can't apply for a SEAL Master Certificate until I'm a Chunin. Same thing with you being a field medic, Sakura. Naruto made the point. I've already reached my mother's level in it, though. That's what Kira is saying. I have all the knowledge. I've just been working on the practical application. Which reminds me. He opened 6 stacks of exploding tags. 3 stacks for both of you. Have fun. After taking the stacks, they both nodded. Thanks. You ever think about selling these? I have been. I don't really need to, though. Etherway Inc. has been sending money to my account monthly. I also got a letter from Tsunami. Turns out, they've been taking out crime in Wave with a lot more ease. Inari has been using some of the things they've developed. It's funny how close they've got the stun blaster to Samus's. She's built a reputation, you know. He departed in a shunshin, saying, well, I'll leave you to your devices later. Sakura and Naruto heard a grunt a few hours later while strolling down a street. Naruto ran towards it after realizing instantly that it was the Hokage's grandson and discovered him in a Suna shinobi's grasp. His sword was at the man's neck in an instant. Without even glancing at the man, Naruto was behind him, his sword aimed at the Suna. Nin's jugular vein. If I were you, I'd drop the kid. In your hands is the Sandame Hokage's grandson and a friend of mine. Between me and the Anbu would be the nicer option. The man ran behind Sakura after dropping Konohamaru right away. Good choice. Naruto vanished and then resurfaced beside Sakura, the sword hidden from view. They both looked where he said, but then gave off a scared, shitless vibe that Naruto picked up on. Now that we have averted an international incident, am I to assume the two of you are the teammates of the redhead in the tree? He asked. I take it you know him? Slowly, they both nodded. Before emerging in front of Naruto, the red-haired boy vanished in a whirlpool of sand. Who are you to pick me up so easily? Naruto studied his countenance. How many? Inquired Naruto. The boy's eyebrow went up. Naruto forced himself not to sigh. What's your name? Suna.nin. According to the red-headed person, Sabaku no Gaara. Naruto gave a nod. Alright, back to my original question. How many? And I know that you know, full well, what I'm talking about. The two behind you know about it as well, I take it. All 3 of their eyes widened at this, though Gaara's was the hardest to see. 1. Naruto gave a nod. Remember this, Ichibi. This is Kira's territory. By default, I rule it. If you step out of line, even once, I will not hesitate to put you in your place, as the lowest of our ranks. He glanced at Sakura. She nodded, assuming Naruto had it under control, and returned. Sakura, could you take Konohamaru to Gigi? She asked. Then Naruto faced Gaara once more. Who's your team? Tamari and Kankuro. Sister and brother. Mother is afraid. Why is she afraid? Kira, do you know why Shukaku is acting like a mother? I'd put it as psychological control. He's a male, and he's clinically insane. As to why he's scared, I've been leaking my own authority through you. Shukaku is already aware. And I will help you put him in his place. Good to know. X. No comment. You already know everything I do, and then some. The rest is up to you. I'm only here as an advisor now. Naruto gave a mental shrug. He turned and began to leave, saying, okay, you want to know why Shukaku is scared? Ask him yourself. And remember my warning. If I have to kill you, so be it. After a brief period of silence, Gaara turned to face his teammates. Do not provoke him. You do, you die. Mother wishes for me to listen to the warning, as he can do so. He also will not repeat the warning. If he doesn't kill you, I will. Let's go. Konohagakure, North Gate Samus, dressed in civilian clothes, approached the gate. Ah, Samus. Welcome back, said the on-duty security officer. Go on through. She gave a nod. Any idea where Naruto is? She nodded and began to move around, saying, probably walking around. He was nominated for the Chunin exams. Either that or training. She soon located him. Naruto, we've got someone coming. Naruto gave her a blank stare. Who is it? I told you about the other bounty hunters I came across. Sylux has been reported in the area for the last year. I just picked up his ship. Bad thing. Samus said, you have no idea. He's been here for who knows how long. Naruto gave a nod. Good to know. If he comes into the area, I'd stay hidden. If he's after you, he'd strike at the first opportunity. That he would. Then Naruto had an idea. Why does Sylux hate you so much, anyway? You told me you always felt an immense hatred every time you two met. I have no idea. Sylux was rumored to be a former Federation soldier, but there is no proof. Exiled? Maybe. Naruto let out a sigh. You don't work for the Federation anymore. If this guy has a grudge against the Federation, then maybe he would stop attacking you because you no longer have any lasting connection to them, aside from your suit, which has left Federation regulations, unless I'm mistaken. I hope so. I have given up all ties to the Federation. Even after what happened with the X all those years ago, I am still invaluable to them as a mercenary. Even though I really want nothing to do with them, I can't eliminate my roots. Naruto said, glad you took the mission that brought you here? Samus gave a nod. I'll admit I was conflicted when I heard about my old suit code appearing, and was really hoping I was wrong at the time. Now, I'm glad for it. It's the first time I've actually found something good for me on a mission. I still love ramen, though. Noodles are really the only thing I can eat on long-distance trips, you know? Then Naruto said, they never spoil. Though the creatures in the Forest of Death are also pretty good, Ichiraku's has the top spot on my taste buds. I'll be going to the bounty station. I caught 3 of them already. Man, am I glad I can use my suit as a storage unit as well. I've got 2 B ranks and an A rank bounty. Naruto then hurried away, waving his hand, causing her to shake her head. Okay. I'll be looking for Iruka. Sensei. See you back at the house. Before leaving, she thought, perhaps I should follow his lead. No. After 3 days, Academy Team 7 was approaching a crowd gathered in front of door 301. Naruto interrupted Sasuke as he opened his mouth to speak. Sasuke was prepared to argue, but he refrained, and they continued to walk. Don't. This is a test. Just keep moving. They were nearly overlooked. The word of the day. Nearly. A female voice interrupted him, asking, Naruto, what are you doing? He didn't look at her, but his teammates did. Naruto then turned to face her and said, Tenten, I don't think you're aware of how well I know this building. We're supposed to go to room 301. That's where I'm heading. By the way, how's the sales? Pretty good, actually. We've got Genin, Chunin, Junin, and even Enbu are buying the exploding tags. Thanks to you, we've got most of the storage scroll and exploding tag sales in the village. Those cryo storage scrolls are a hit with Hunter Nin, though. Naruto gave a nod. Get your team, and let's go. She gave him a questioning glance before noticing that no one else was watching them and continuing to try to enter the adjacent room. What the? Naruto grinned and said, sound barrier. Only you and my team can hear me right now. It's better that they don't know about this genjutsu. She gave a nod. I'll see you up there, then. Team 7 kept moving away. Before the others noticed, Tenten and her 2 teammates had left the pack. Behind room 301, Kakashi emerged. Good to see you all made it on time. Naruto shot back, you're one to talk. Next came Guy and Team Guy, which included Tenten, Neji, and Lee. Kakashi, your students actually decided to show up. Kakashi shrugged and said, of course, Guy. They had decided to take the first shot a few weeks before nominations. They just didn't say anything to me. Tenten asked angrily, Guy. Sensei, could you please tell us what's going on? And why he's here? Tenten, that is. Gade, enough Lee. Tenten, these 3 are on Kakashi's team. You're all 30 minutes early, so youthful. The final word was not heard by Naruto. He said, I'm sorry, what was that? Guy took hold of his head. Curse you, Kakashi. You passed on your hip attitude. Naruto looked over at Sasuke and Sakura. Sorry, all I'm getting is his actions. Sasuke nodded and said, you made it so anything above a certain volume is automatically blocked out, didn't you? Can I get one? Naruto said, after the exams. I'll be giving Sakura one as well. To which Sakura replied, thanks, Naruto. Naruto gave Kakashi a look. I'm sorry, Guy, did you say something? In order to shield Sasuke and Sakura from the even louder cries of Guy, Naruto spread his sound barrier around them. After that, they passed through, and Team Guy came next. Kakashi was able to get Shunshin out of there while holding his bleeding ears. Away from Konohagakure, a green light approaching the west gate was surrounded by 2 purple metal strips. The guards watched it warily. After a brief jump, it changed into a blue mechanical entity. The guards were prepared for battle at once. The creature remarked, I am not seeking a fight, just a place to rest. The guards remained vigilant. Name and purpose? I am known only as Sylux. I merely wish to stay for a week, while I get what I need to repair my own ship. What kind of ship? It is known as the Delano 7. If you stick around for 6 weeks, you could watch over the Chunin exams. That must be why I came here instead of one of those other towns. Sylux thought. I'll stick around, but if someone attacks me, then I will strike back. Word of warning. The guard said, we'll pass on the message. The tower with the kanji for fire is where the Hokage is. Head there to see if there's anything you're not familiar with. Good idea, said Sylux. Perhaps I can discover the reason behind Samus's presence at these coordinates. The fact that I caught it while outside of Federation territory was a lucky break. But hell will break loose if she hits me. When Sylux walked into the Hokage's office, Sarutobi was working on paperwork. Are you the Hokage? With a sigh, the elderly man turned to face the individual. You are the bounty hunter Sylux, correct? I do not remember telling the guards about my occupation. They didn't have to. 3 days ago, I received word about you. Look, if you're with the Federation, then I am already aware of the Federation, but they are only recently aware of our existence. They have no clear reason to be here. Then how do you know of them? One of their retired soldiers are in the village. She is the one that told me what they are after, and why she came here in the first place. Sylux inquired, does this soldier go by the name Samus? Yes, she does. Great. Now I have to ask why she's here. She is a citizen in this village, along with being a blood relative to one of my own subordinates. So, she isn't here on Federation business. No, she isn't. In fact, if anyone from the Federation comes here for her relative, she openly stated that she'd kill them on sight. Good. That means I won't have to worry about where her allegiance lies. If you see her, let her know that I'm in town. I need to repair my ship. She'll know what I mean. If she can help, I'd appreciate it. Especially considering our past encounters. One of the many who tried to kill her, correct? I was after the Federation's goons. She fell into that category at the time. Sylux acknowledged. I'll stick around, anyway. Might as well check out the Chunin exams while I'm here, you know? Yes, well, try not to destroy the place if you see her, and be aware that she is very protective of Naruto Uzumaki, her nephew. After turning around, Sylux left, saying, I'll keep that in mind. Sarutobi let out a sigh. Neko. Then Anbu showed up. Find Samus. Tell her that Sylux means no harm at the moment. He wishes to repair his ship, and has no other reason to be here. The Anbu departed, saying, Hi, Hokage. Sama. About half an hour later, the academy. A female was standing in front of a banner with about 66 genin. She wore a trench coat and extremely skimpy clothing. She had a pineapple tied in her purple hair. Ibiki, you passed 22 teams? A large man pointed to Naruto and said, if you want to blame me, then don't. The blonde one there is who caused the eliminations to stop. Though I really think you'd like him. The village prank demon, after all. Hey. I'll knock their numbers down to less than half. Meet at training ground 69N tomorrow at noon. That'll be the second exam. Naruto started laughing once more. The kunai that sliced open his cheek did not deter him. In a flash, the woman was in front of him. What's so funny, Gaki? After calming down a little, Naruto turned to face her. You're going to put these guys through the Fazen Gauntlet? Anko gave a few blinks. How do you know about it? To which Naruto answered, you'll find out. They both nodded and the three of them departed in a shunshin after saying, Sasuke. Sakura. MS 10 minutes. In front of the memorial stone 10 minutes later. Sakura and Sasuke turned to face Naruto. Alright, what do you really know about that Fazen Gauntlet? And how did you know it holds any significance? Asked Sakura. For one, Training Ground 69 is really the codename of the Fazen Gauntlet. Really, the only difference is the name. Secondly, you're looking at the company designer. Replied Naruto. I know that place inside and out. Some of my pranks pale in comparison regarding the complexity and dangerousness. Only myself, Samus, and the current head of the Anbu have gotten through it. Not even Gigi has tried. We lost 13 Anbu captains while trying to get through it at its maximum. I figure they'd lower it to 10% capacity. If it's any higher than 50%, though, I'll be lowering it remotely. Samus and I are the only ones that can. He then took out a scroll and placed it down. This is a map of the entire gauntlet beyond the entrance. There are 7 sectors each with a different climate, and 3 ways to get to another sector. 6 of them are numbered. The place is really just the biological space labs where the X originally stayed and fought my aunt Samus. The X love it there, and the tech is far beyond anything this planet is completely familiar with. Sad thing is, There are only 3 navigation rooms in this one, and 1 large briefing room, which is also the only real entrance. What are the percentages for, though, the power level of monsters that materialize? I can handle them at full strength, with or without my suit. Sectors 3, 4, and 5 will be a bit of a problem, though. Sector 3 has areas with extreme heat, and even lava. I can handle those areas with my suit, but you guys don't have that kind of protection. Sector 5 is the complete opposite. According to Kabuto, there are no snow ninjas here. Again, it can get unbearable, but is the complete opposite of Sector 3. Sakura questioned, why is Sector 4 a problem? Sector 4 is called the Aqua Sector for a reason. 80% of the area is submerged in water. In some areas, the water has lightning flowing through it. I learned to water walk in those areas. Chunin can barely handle 45%. Also, know that the X play an important part of the area. Sakura and Sasuke both nodded. A voice said, why training ground 69? When they all turned to face the voice, they saw that it was Sylux. Naruto glanced at the individual in the suit. With tense muscles, Sasuke asked, another one from the Federation? Naruto held his arm out. Why are you here, Sylux? If you know my name without me saying anything, I guess you'd understand the terminology. My ship crashed after a bout with some space pirates. One of them is named Weevil. My ship barely made it out, and I crashed a few clicks out. Any of this hitting home? Replied Sylux. Naruto gave a nod. You're looking for repairs, right? Yeah. Sadly, the tech here is not that good. What do you expect? This isn't Federation territory. Our tech is backwater compared to theirs in some areas. Others are only slightly behind. Naruto replied. Still, you didn't come to the right place. I doubt my aunt will want me talking to you. Look, if she has nothing to do with the Federation, I have nothing against her. Besides, I was only really walking around when I heard the words Fazen Gauntlet. Sylux acknowledged. Federation tech. Nah, just named after it. You probably heard this, but it's based off of the BSL station near the old Planet State Route 388. I built most of it myself. There are more traps, and special programming codes that allow for much more variable responses, and some locked areas that only respond to a certain element. Those locked areas tend to hold anywhere from Class 6 tech, and above. Sadly, only my aunt can get into those. Sylux gave a nod. Well, tell me about these X. Are they really parasites, or are those just rumors? Naruto acknowledged, actually, they kind of are. Any organic life form could die if they come into contact with one, as they could easily attack the nervous system, and destroy them from the inside. Sylux nodded slightly. Well, it's a good thing I'm no longer organic. Naruto sat down on the ground and said, well, since I'm done with the explanation, I got some time to talk. Sakura and Sasuke exchanged glances before leaving, saying, take a seat. We've got time. Naruto turned to Sylux after they had left. Now that they're gone, I have a question that I'm afraid only you can answer. I already told you why I'm here. It's about your hatred for the Federation. What did they do to you that caused it? Asked Naruto. Really, I'm curious. Sylux asked, why does it matter to you? I'm currently debating having the X make you a physical body. One that can put on your armor at will. Naruto said. Depending on the reason, and whether or not you are willing to forgive my aunt for what she's done to you because of her missions, will give me reason to do so, or not. Sylux emitted what sounded like a sigh. Alright. Believe it or not, I was once a soldier for the Federation. I was sent on a mission, and failed due to an unknown circumstance that not even the Federation could predict. What happened? Long story short, the mission failed, and I was the only survivor of the team. I only really got out of there barely alive. My failure caused imprisonment. I broke out of the prison, took this suit, along with a prototype weapon from the R&D department. It's called the shock coil. Sadly, aside from the plasma beam and missile capabilities, there was nothing on the suit. After a while, I managed to form something similar to the ball form Samus has with her power suit. I call it Lockjaw. I've had a hatred for them ever since. It only grew over time, and when Samus joined the ranks, well, she took assignments that I would have taken while I was there. If she ever failed a mission, she'd go through the same thing I did. I didn't want that to happen to someone else. From what I know, which isn't much mind you, you always try to kill Samus. I did that to get her away from them. The Federation is filled with power-hungry fools. People who would take out those with more power than them, or use them for their own gain. As long as Samus has any allegiance to the Federation, she has to be a target. If she drops her allegiance to those bastards, then I have no quarrel with her. Naruto gave a nod. I get it. You only attack her because you think she's their lapdog, right? In a nutshell, yes. Either she doesn't work for the Federation, or she's a target. Well, considering the fact that she hasn't really had any allegiance to the Federation for the last 10 or so years, I think some of your attacks on her since then are unfounded. Then how come she still has the suit? Naruto noted, it's tied into her nervous system. Her suit can't be used by anyone else. The only reason the Federation hasn't put her down is because they think they can still use her. Her abilities are invaluable to them, that much is certain. After the whole X incident on State Route 388, she resigned. She only works for them when it pleases her, or when it doesn't conflict with her morals. Even then, it gets done her way. Either that, or it doesn't happen. She's only taken one mission from them since then, and it led her here. It was to find an illegal suit activation. It led her here, to me, her last known living family. Sylux acknowledged, I heard about that from the Hokage. Since she is not one of their lapdogs, I have no quarrel with her. He also said that if they came for you, she'd blow them apart. Her words, not his or mine. Yeah. She'd probably do the same thing to them she did to Trace when he came for me, said Naruto. Probably something crazy. In response, Naruto said, try overkill. You ever seen anyone blow off a limb with a missile at point-blank range, just for twitching said limb? She did that? Sylux inquired, a little perplexed. I don't believe she would. Oh, she did. Poor bastard disintegrated after the third limb. Naruto replied, in any other case, I'd say that would be overkill. To protect that which is precious to you. That is why she did that. Family is always precious to you, whether they're annoying or not. I was actually touched she did that when he was after me. Weird family. Naruto shrugged, it's family nonetheless. Before her, I didn't have any known relatives that were alive. She never saw her brother, who was my father, after he crash-landed here. I see. And did she accomplish her mission here? She did. The suit is not destroyed, as if it could be, but seeing as the orders never said to bring it back, then she completed the mission. It was find it, and if necessary, destroy it. Those were her orders. She found it, and it is not necessary, or possible, to destroy the suit. Sylux nodded slightly. I see. Thanks for the info on that. I have no quarrel with her, as I said before. When you see her later on, let her know that. A voice that had been mechanically altered yelled, Naruto. And both of them turned their heads. A charged shot was poised to fire, and it was Samus in her suit. Get away from him, Sylux. Naruto gave Sylux a look. You think you could give her your message now? With the shock coil ready to go off at any time, Sylux acknowledged. I doubt she'd listen to me. Naruto. Step away from him, with tension, Sylux uttered. There's no need for that. If anything, I am only after those who align themselves with the Federation. He says that you retired 10 years ago. If that is true, then any attacks on you were a mistake. My quarrel is only with those who serve the Federation blindly. Though I don't know why Trace or even the Federation would come for him, if they do, they'll have to deal with me. Why should I trust you? I already told the kid why I hate the Federation. What they do to soldiers of our caliber is not right. Failing a mission for them will only lead to your own death. Take it from someone who's been there. Sylux responded. I was like you once. Strong-willed, powerful, and of a high rank. I failed a mission. The result was a series of events that led to me becoming the way I am now. Put down your weapon, and I will put down mine. Before the charge subsided, Samus uttered the words, I don't trust you. She lowered her arm and said, but I trust the Federation even less. Sylux exhaled deeply. Look, I only came here because Weevil and his goons found me in the area, and I barely got away. My ship was badly damaged. I made whatever repairs I can, but I can't take off right now. My ship would crack apart in its current state. Acknowledged Sylux. If I had my choice, I wouldn't have landed here. Why wasn't I informed that Weevil was in the area? Why would you be? The Federation is aware of a suit activation at these coordinates. They sent me, and if any bounty hunters came to this neck of the woods, I would be informed. I was informed about you, but not Weevil. Weevil is on a normal space pirate ship. I'm not surprised if they're only looking for bounty hunters. Sylux acknowledged. If only I could ditch this suit. Maybe I'd fit in easier. Why is Weevil in the area? If he's after you, I wouldn't be surprised. Still, I doubt that you'd let him take you on that easily. Believe it or not, if you go after him, I'll watch over this kid. Make sure that the Federation and any other hunter doesn't get him. Samus acknowledged, it would be simpler if it were Trace. Still, he was after Naruto. Why would you protect him? I hold no love for the Federation. If protecting him from them lights their seats and blows their tops, then by all means I'll do it. Sylux made the point. Samus sighed, still wearing her power suit. You're sticking with me. Naruto, did you make it to the second part of the Chunin exams? He grinned. Then I assume you already know that our second training ground is the stage for it? Yeah, I explained the layout to my team. Why are they using it, though? Samus acknowledged, my suggestion, actually. Give them a taste of Etherway hell. Still, they only know that it has a lot of dangerous traps and organisms. They don't realize the severity of the situation. Anko and I are working together for the proctor spot. Where's the difficulty saying? 40%. All sectors are allowed, although the command deck and generator areas are strictly off limits. Everything else is virtually the same as usual. The Ninja Council will be watching as will Ibiki. Several Anbu will also be watching, though I'm not sure which ones, replied Samus. Wow. Quite the audience. Mind if I watch as well? Could help out with my being here, Sylux responded. After putting away her suit, Samus changed into her regular clothes. Might as well, but if I find that you do anything wrong, you're dead. Got it. Sylux sighed once more. Sylux turned back to Naruto and said, by the way, holding a piece of paper. That's what I looked like before I joined the Federation. Feel free to make changes as you wish, if you make it. After taking the picture, Naruto looked at it. I can make do with this, but I never said I would be. I gave it to you in case you decide to do so. It'll help me if I ever have to return. Naruto gave a nod. I'll have to make a few changes to throw them off, but if I do, I'll get as close as I can. Then Sylux turned to leave. Naruto approached Samus. What was that about? I was thinking on whether or not to make her an organic body. Samus said, don't you mean he? The figure was clearly visible in the picture that Naruto showed her. My god, Sylux is. Naruto concluded for her by saying, yeah, Sylux is a girl. Samus deadpanned, ouch. I called her a him so many times in reference. Okay, I've got a lot of other things to do, and you have to get home. Maybe you can help me understand what the heck happened to her. I think you should ask her. I doubt I could understand the ramifications of whatever mission she failed. I think only you could figure that out. Samus let out a sigh. You're gonna make me work for her trust, aren't you? I trust her, but I'm not sure she trusts you, or me. Then again, who could turn an enemy into an ally with a few short sentences? Replied Naruto. Samus smiled slightly and said, anyway, shouldn't we get home? I think we're gonna need the rest. I know I will. Perhaps Naruto will be beneficial to me. I have no faith in Sylux. Not at all. I should give her a chance, though. As they made their way back to their home, Samus thought, perhaps she's not so horrible. The following day in front of Anko and Samus in her zero suit, 66 Genin stood. Alright maggots, listen up. Behind me is the entrance to Training Ground 69. It looks like a ring of metal, right? A few people nodded. Actually, to all but 5 ninja who looked, it appeared to be little more than a ring of metal. Well, this ring is actually a portal. It'll lead to the actual training ground, and the test area. Samus, mind explaining the layout? I'm afraid I have little knowledge of it. In the meantime, I'll pass out the waivers. A Genin asked at random, what are they for? They're so we're not responsible if you die in this exam. Basically, if you die, it's your own damn fault, said Anko. Samus? Samus moved forward. Her voice then became serious as she said, got it. A hologram with the floor plan of the regular areas divided by sectors appeared. All right, everyone. This training ground is different from all other training grounds in the elemental nations and beyond. There is only one place that was ever built like this, but I destroyed it myself 10 years ago. I rebuilt it over the last few months, and they're allowing the usage of it for the second exam. They zoom in as she explains each one. The original was a biological lab that was taken over. I recreated every nook and cranny that I went through myself. There are a total of 7 sectors, all of which are fair game. There's a lot of things here that you'll find disturbing, or just downright creepy. Sectors 1 through 6 are varying areas. Sector 1 is a recreation of a breeding area that was codenamed SRX, based off of State Route 388. Don't ask what that is. Sector 2 is more of a jungle area. Codename is TRO for tropical. She took a moment to let that take hold. Sector 3 is codenamed PYR, mainly because it's a heat-influenced area, reaching temperatures above 2,500 degrees in some areas. There is actual lava there in some areas. If you can't stand the heat, stay out of Sector 3 as much as possible. If you live in a volcano, then by all means stick around. Sector 4 is codenamed AQU. At least 80% of the sector is submerged underwater, but be warned. Some areas filled with water have electricity flowing through them. You could compare it to an S-rank Raiden being channeled through a lake evenly. Just up the voltage by 500%, give or take. She paused again and went on. Looking around, she said, Sector 5 is basically a winter wonderland. Just a lot colder. I don't see anyone from Yukigakure. There probably won't be anything big fights there. Finally, Sector 6, codename NOC. The mass majority of the area is literally filled with darkness. I would expect that a lot more blood will be shed here. Those who like to hide and kill silently, you'll love Sector 6. Now for the last sector. This one doesn't have a code name. It's simply known as the main deck. It has 3 sections of its own. The main deck is split into the back area, which is split into 2 more areas, one of which you cannot get into, and is off limits. There's the command deck, which is also off limits. The area of the main deck, where you defeat the Saw X at that point, was zoomed on. This area is completely off limits, meaning no entry. There's the observation deck, which was refitted. This area is the finish line. It magnified the region. Once you make it there, you are quite literally home free. I'm done here. Anko displayed an orb that was adorned with a lightning bolt. Your objective is to find one of these somewhere in this training ground. You can't open it until you reach the finish line, and if a teammate of yours is dead, you will not be allowed to enter the observation deck. There are only 10 of them in there. Meaning, at most, 30 of you will make it past this round. What's more is, you only have 10 days to go through this course. If you don't make it through by then, an alarm will go off in all sectors, and any survivors will have to make it too. What area are the losers to go to? Anko directed Samus to the flight deck. Right here. This is an exit point, but it is currently closed off. When you get there, you will find an orange floating object. That area is how you're getting out, said Samus. How will we find the objects? Anko gave a snort. That's up to you. If you don't find one faster enough, it'll be picked up by one of the locals. They range from wimpy to deadly. After clearing her throat, Samus conjured up another picture. I can tell you right here and now that if a certain one is not picked up by a certain time, this being will pick it up. It is actually so powerful it was named. This is Ridley. He is also one of the most dangerous beings that I've ever come across. A little friendly advice. If you see him, run. Even at 20%, he's far more dangerous than an S-rank rogue. Each time I take him out I get lucky, and manage to find a weak point. It's different every time, so I can't tell you what it is. If he appears, then there is nothing that can be done about it unless you have a sharp eye, and can hit a flying opponent with an extremely powerful piercing move, something that most Anbu can't pull off. As to why it's here, beats the hell out of me. Blame the other company designer. Akona Hajenin said, wait, where are we entering? Samus noted, you'll end up in a random position when you go through this portal. The only positions you won't find yourself in are the off-limits areas. Also, know that there are several rest points. Those rooms prevent any usage of chakra, and are used for resting only. Any malicious intent will kick you out of the area. They also make good places to make a temporary alliance of sorts with another team. A few genin respond with comprehension. Oh, and for the select few in this crowd that have been in here before, know that the locked areas from before are still locked. Naruto gave a finger snap. TCH. Damn. Sasuke was wearing a dark blue suit that was similar to Naruto's but less baggy, while Naruto was wearing his well-known orange jumpsuit. Like the other members of her team, Sakura was dressed in a red suit. As they heard him say it, a few glanced in his direction and mentally noted that they should be cautious around him. Anko's throat cleared. Final piece of advice. Don't die. Make sure your team is in physical contact with each other when you go through. Every one of the 33 teams advanced, with the Guy team. Lee, Tenten, and Neji touched down in Sector 2. Lee said, so, we're in Sector 2? Tenten answered, yeah. This is Sector 2. Naruto had told me about this particular area. Apparently, we're right next to a rest point. Neji arched an eyebrow and asked, you mean the one that failed the graduation exam 3 times? Tenten replied with a nod. We cannot rely on his information. He is destined to be a loser. Would a loser be the reason my family's store is selling 40% more items dealing with Fuinjutsu? Because that's what he's been doing for the last 3 months. I cannot believe that a dead last can provide enough funds to give your store that much, said Neji. Tenten said, you want to know why he failed all 3 times? It was the standard clone jutsu. He always had too much chakra. He uses shadow clones so easily for a reason, you know? It's his reserves. He easily has more chakra than all 4 Hokage in their prime. His control used to suck ass. He trained his control in sectors 3, 4, and 5, here. He mentioned Ridley once. He fled, knowing he would have been out of his league. And I'm not surprised. Now let's go find one of them. If we find Naruto's team, I would suggest we team up with them. With Team 10, Shoji Akamichi, Shikamaru Nara, and Ino Yamanaka were standing on a platform above the water. Shikamaru, looking up and seeing Grips, said boredly, I guess we ended up in Sector 4. You fight Ceres there. Ino grumbled, great. I didn't even bring a swimsuit. Shoji pointed to the water and said, hey guys, what's that? Among the targets was this one. Shikamaru's eyes narrowed. Shikamaru said, this has got to be a trap. Going in right next to one of the targets? I don't see any other explanation. Ino gave Shikamaru a head bonk. Don't be a chicken, Shikamaru. In response, Shikamaru said, you're one to talk, Ino. You want to trigger a possible trap so bad, you get it. With Team 8. After looking around, Kiba Inuzuka, Hinata Hyuga, and Shino Aburame discovered that they were blind. What the hell? Kiba almost yelled out. It seems that we are in Sector 6, Shino said coolly. We can do our best in this area. That is, if Kiba can keep quiet long enough to find what we need. Hinata acknowledged, Shino is right, Kiba.kun. If there is one in the area, we should be able to find it somewhat easily. Kiba sighed. Fine. We'll do it Shino's way, alongside Team 7. Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto ended up directly in front of a lava pit. Naruto turned to face Sakura and Sasuke. He said, glad I got you those suits now? Sasuke acknowledged, oh yeah. I can't feel the heat at all. These suits are great. Gotta say I figured the jumpsuit was just stupid at first. I'm glad I thought in a different light than usual. Otherwise, I'd probably be sweating my butt off right now. Sakura acknowledged. In response, Naruto said, no shit. Indeed, he designed the suits with the Varia suit's capabilities in mind. Remember, I do everything I do for a reason. Whether I know the reason or not. Alright, Naruto. You know Samus. Where do you think she would put them? Naruto paused to reflect. She showed a picture of Ridley, and warned us that he would have one if it was left alone for too long. That means one is in the area that she fought Ridley in the original area. She may have put one in each area that she fought a core X. However, that wouldn't seem right, as there are too many core X and not enough targets. He rested his eyes for a moment. Maybe it's the areas where she retrieved an ability from a core X. Come again? Before she went into the BSL and fought the X, she had less than 10% of her abilities to start. She had taken out several core X, 11 of them, to regain abilities. One of which was an X version of Ridley. There are only 10 of them. The 11th one is in a restricted area for this test. That leaves 10 areas she regained an ability through a core X. Naruto clarified. Sakura acknowledged, you know, it would make sense if it were you. So, since we're in Sector 3, obviously, how many would be here? Or do you know? After humming, Naruto turned to face the lava. I'd say the closest one within traveling distance would be the one in Sector 5. Why Sector 5? Inquired Sasuke. Naruto said, remember, these suits can handle the extreme cold, too. Anyway, the reason I say Sector 5 is because the length of time to get where she gained the wide beam and where she got the gravity suit abilities are roughly equal. The main difference is the path we have to take. You guys can't go through lava. I can, but only in my suit. Not these. You both can't go into those areas, and while I know you can handle yourself against Chunin level ninja, I'm not sure how well you'd fare against the big guns here. Sakura simply said, alright, how do we get to Sector 5 the fastest? Without bothering to ask Naruto, she discovered that he was extremely knowledgeable about physics and geography. Naruto merely indicated the opposite side of the lava. Right across this lava pit there's going to be an area that'll take us directly to Sector 5. Samus showed a 2D map of the place. In reality, Sectors 1 through are in a circle. The direct route without going through the main deck, goes in a circle like this. 1, 3, 5, 6, 4, 2, then ends up back at Sector 1. Also, know that there are X everywhere, and all the locals give off an X when they are defeated. Remember that, and you'll do fine. Sasuke joked, you're right at home, then. Naruto answered, kind of, yeah. And here I thought that would have been a good joke. Naruto grinned. His smile faded as he said, I know, alright, let's go. After running over the lava, they passed through a few doors and, as Naruto broke through a few walls, they arrived at a tunnel that appeared to be surrounded by rocks that reflected light. They then ran down the tunnel until they came to another room. These are what connect the different sectors. This way to Sector 5. Naruto just punched the hatch they saw before it opened. How did you? Gray hatch. One hit is all it takes to open. Some areas I can only access in my suit because of the path taken requires certain weaponry, but that's mainly because I go in without any shinobi equipment. Observation deck in a room with chairs and multiple screens, where Samus in her zero suit, Sylux, the clan heads, the Anbu commander, and Anko. Kiba Inuzuka's mother, Sume Inuzuka, said, I have to admit, I'm impressed. I never thought one room could watch every single area. Sylux gave Samus a look. Are you sure this isn't Federation tech? In order to confuse everyone except Shikaku Nara and Sylux, Samus punched a few commands into the keyboard and said, not officially, it isn't. The entire place was actually built based off of a Federation station. The Federation has no knowledge of this place being built at all. Anyway, I'll be checking on the teams for now. Any requests? The commander of the Anbu said, Konoha Team Kakashi. Heishi Hyuga asked, why that one? The commander said, that one has a frequent visitor on it. A screen displayed Naruto punching a gray hatch, causing it to open, and the caption read, I want to see what he plans on doing. They're in Sector 6, right? That's the tunnel path between Sectors 5 and 3, actually. They're going into Sector 5. Now I see why they all have the track suits. Said Samus. Those suits have the same abilities of a Varia suit. Go figure. Varia suit? Asked Shibi Aburame. The Varia suit allows for access to areas of extreme temperatures on both sides. What I want to know is, how come they aren't being affected on the uncovered parts of their bodies? Sylux asked Samus. I can only assume he used Fuinjutsu to make it so that those suits emulate a chakra-based Varia suit. It won't stop water or lava from flowing in, but it will keep out the heat and cold. Said Samus. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. In contrast, the clan heads appeared to be contemplative. The commander of Anbu kept a close eye on them. If Uzumaki makes Chunin, I'd recommend him for Anbu. Jinchuriki or not. Samus remarked, narratively, Naruto Uzumaki is my nephew. He probably already figured out where each one is located, too. Heishi said, why not check on the targets? With Team Asuma in the fray, Samus switched cameras and discovered Ceres using the speed booster ability. Okay, I'll check the Ceres room first. That's the only one in Sector 4. Shit. They're already facing off with someone. And it's Ceres to boot. Ceres? Inquired Sylux. Samus clarified, speed demon, that's not impacted by water resistance. I said I blew up the station this one was based off of. I wasn't kidding. This place has the exact same floor plan, aside from one area. It was a restricted zone in the other one. That area is not in this one. They're going up against a being that can go at least 100 miles per hour for a few seconds. That's when it glows. That's the speed booster ability in a nutshell. Shikaku said, they'll get it done, however, it will take a bit. My son is already analyzing that thing. I see that. If they haven't beaten him in 30 minutes, I'd be surprised. Inquiring, what about interference? Was Inoichi Yamanaka? Wouldn't someone get in the way? Samus noted, there are only hatches in certain areas. When there's a hatch and it's glowing, then you can open it. If it isn't glowing, they can't be opened from either side. The two hatches in there aren't glowing. This fight won't be interrupted. However, once Ceres is dead, the target item that they already have will unlock the doors. I spent 10 days on the original station, before I blew it to Kingdom Come. Sylux said, okay, check the next one. She acquired the wave beam in Sector 3. The room with the boiler. Interestingly, a genin from Kumogakure was present. It was a woman with a ponytail and blonde hair. I didn't think anyone would be able to get to that one without a single mark on them. Especially not this quickly. Naruto and I can get there without being singed, but that's with our suits, Samus thought. What do you mean by suits? Samus noted, it's not widely known, so I'm not surprised you asked that question. The suits I'm talking about are ingrained with our bodies. It's similar to a bloodline, but I'm not entirely sure it is. Mine was actually made separate from me, whereas Naruto got his when he fused with an X something this place is crawling with. His has the abilities of the Varia and gravity suits. Because of that combination, he can go into actual lava and be unharmed. Mine has the same abilities. My suit, on the other hand, is far more dangerous to go up against. I have access to several more weapons, along with one that no one else is aware of. Except Sylux. He knows when I got it, too. Sylux nodded and said, "The Omega Cannon? I thought that thing was made useless after you took out Gaara? Don't think I wasn't able to recreate the damn thing. I used it when I was somehow sucked into some alternate universe without my power suit. Sadly, I overdid it when I used it. It nearly destroyed my suit that time. I saved that thing as a last-ditch move. I don't like using it, and even if I do, I only use it when nothing else works. I wouldn't even use that against the Federation. They don't know of it, either. I did that after I resigned from the Federation." Sylux gave a nod. "So, they're still unaware of the Omega Cannon?" "They were aware of the first one. They know I used it to defeat Gaara. That's the bad news. The good news is, they have no idea I recreated it. Basically, I haven't used it since I was taken to that alternate universe. Still, the fact that I needed a certain ball to use it then is kind of bad. I can only use it once now. After I use it, if I have any energy left in my suit, I hide as soon as I possibly can, in case anything survives, and can still attack. One hit, and the suit is destroyed. Just be glad I don't like using it if I can help it." Since the risk was too great to ask for or use frequently, the clan heads all nodded. Shikaku had a question, though. "What's stopping you from using it on us?" "Aside from the same reason I don't like using it, Naruto is the only other reason I wouldn't use it here," said Samus. "He wants to protect this place. That means, by proxy, I'll protect this place. As long as he is loyal, I will follow his lead. If he wants this place razed to the ground, I'd help. In the end, I'd side with my family over anyone else." Shikaku liked her response and nodded. Shuza declared, "We're doomed." "Why would that be?" asked Sylux. According to Samus, his childhood, frankly, was hell. Picture 50 space pirate fleets all filled with clones of Weevil, after you for a reason that you can't control. If Sylux could have raised an eyebrow, she would have asked, "That bad?" Samus acknowledged, "Worse, actually. If he ever snaps, Konohagakure will meet its end right then and there. I wouldn't even have to use the Zero Laser, my recreated version of the Omega Cannon." In the meantime, Team Kakashi Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto simply walked into a much bigger room. It was rather simple, but between two hatches on one side was a scaling wall. Neither hatch was glowing, either. Naruto became aware of this. "Be on guard. We may have gotten here too late to get it without interference." Sakura and Sasuke nodded, poised to strike at any second. Sakura and Sasuke were a little taken aback when Naruto put on his suit. Sakura questioned, "Why are you bringing that out? Remember what happened last time?" Naruto noted, "My control wasn't nearly as good as now the last time I used it in a mission. I can keep it active for up to 7 hours straight, before it starts to harm my coils at this point." Sakura nodded hesitantly. Sasuke merely gave a grunt. "Don't turn into dead weight now, Dobi." At that moment, a massive floating entity entered the area, trapping the target. As Naruto grumbled, "Shit. I know she did something with this, but really? Nightmare? What's wrong with it?" Naruto pointed to the rotating generator at the base of the main body, between the arms, and said, "Nightmare has a unique ability. It can increase or decrease the gravity. We have to destroy the gravity flux generator before we can do anything else to it." Sakura asked, "How do you expect us to do that? In case you didn't notice, we don't have any long-range weapons that can hit something like that without worrying about gravity." Naruto retorted, "Jutsu aren't affected by gravity. Besides, I've disabled my gravity seals, as well. You too should do the same. It can only increase or decrease the gravitational pull." The other genin was unaware of this. Sasuke asked, "How do you know that?" Naruto answered, "Trial and error, of course, and an Anbu commander." The audience checked in on that one at that moment. Alongside Team Asuma, Shikamaru, Choji, and Ino were all panting heavily. As soon as Shikamaru realized what Ceres was doing, they had already vanquished him. Panting, Ino remarked, "That thing was tough. Now both doors were glowing." "No kidding," said Shikamaru. "If Choji hadn't have landed that hit on its head, I wouldn't have known that it would have harmed it. Seriously, though. That thing was beyond Chunin level." Choji merely moaned. "Ow." Knowing that shouting at them would not help, Ino didn't bother. She hardly did anything because she was too exhausted. She began, "Hey, Shikamaru." With his breathing largely under control, he answered, "What? When we get out of here. Remind me to ask how Naruto could outrun Chunin with ease, Ino replied. The Shikamaru said, no need. I plan on asking that same question, anyway. Only Naruto or an Anbu could keep up with that. Then again, we may be understating its abilities. Choji continued to moan in agony. We'll have to rest here. That thing is far too powerful, and something tells me that Ridley character is more powerful. Terrified, Ino questioned, you don't really think it exists here, do you? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Ridley is the second worst threat here, Shikamaru said. If she could have, Ino would have gone pale. Rather, she passed out. Actually, Shikamaru didn't blame her. It was a bitch to defeat that serpent. Alongside Team Kakashi, the generator was further damaged by Naruto's recent full charge shot. He asked, Sakura, any chance of punching the damn thing? Sakura shot back, what makes you think I can do that? In case you haven't noticed, the gravity won't let me jump that high. Just run up the legs. Fired back Naruto. Sasuke yelled, Kaden. Fire Dragon Bullet, and barely struck the generator. Sakura. Using chakra to stick. Sakura was already sprinting up the arm to the body when she punched the base, causing it to fall off the body and causing an explosion. Then, with a screech, the nightmare launched Sakura into the air, leaving a mark on the ground where her body had been. In agony, she rose. Damn. That actually hurt. Naruto yelled, the gravity unit is destroyed. Time to kill the head, and hurled a super missile at it, causing it to groan and retreat slightly. Naruto raised an eyebrow behind the helmet as Sasuke proceeded to perform 3 hand signs while he was on the wall. Then Sasuke leapt at the head and slammed it into it. Chidori. It struck the head squarely. As Sasuke departed, Naruto fired a diffusion missile into the hole that Chidori had created, resulting in a larger explosion and the fall of Nightmare. Sakura was on the ground, panting, when the target fell out and rolled over to her. With her breathing even now, she uttered, I'm so not ready for that thing. Sasuke gave a nod of agreement. None of them knew the whole battle was being watched. Observation deck, everyone's eyes were fixed on the screen as they watched the battle between Nightmare and Team Kakashi. Except for Samus. Punching the generator off is, admittedly, something that I can't do. Missiles are far more effective, and then, when the gravity was more intense, I had to resort to the plasma beam. Sylux gave her a look. The 3 of them are pretty good, aren't they? Naruto didn't use any of the suit's major abilities, aside from the basic charge beam and missiles. Though I gather that last one was a diffusion missile. Sylux said, blow it up from the inside, bingo. Shibi remarked, those 3 are a deadly combination. I concur. Those 3 are like a Neo Sanin. They just need the summons, Heishi continued. Shikaku noted, that would be trouble, especially since the Uchiha is a flight risk. The Anbu noted that would pose a problem, but I can see that Uzumaki has the Uchiha's trust. That has some merit. However, that also means the village will be worse off if he decides to turn against us. Shuza said, it's a good thing we supported Uzumaki in the councils. Samus grinned to himself. Good. They are aware of Naruto's potential personality when he feels threatened. Sume said, this also brings something else to light. I heard tell that Naruto's progress in the academy was stunted. Apparently, whatever was done afterwards not only fixed him up, but also got him better than ever before. Partially my fault, I'll admit. Samus said. I trained him to the bone to get him where he is now. Gravity and resistance seals help out even more. 5 days later. A table with food on it was occupied by the Kumogakure team, Gaara's team, Team Kakashi, and Team Asuma. Although Temari and Kankuro were a little afraid of what might happen, Gaara was right next to Naruto. As he cleared his plate, Naruto let out a sigh. He then glanced at the blonde Kunoichi from Kumogakure and said, Gaara, we need to talk. Gaara's eyes widened as he realized what that meant. You're involved in this as well, miss. Why am I involved? Naruto answered, it has to do with a certain cat that I think you know. The Kunoichi's eyes widened as she said, you have 2. Gaara has 1. I outrank you both at 9. She then covered her face and stood up. Where to? Naruto stood up, and Gaara did the same. They said, follow me. They exited the room, went upstairs, and entered what appeared to be a garden. Gazing around, Gaara and the Kunoichi felt calm. Naruto greeted them both, saying, welcome to my garden. It's relaxing, nay? The Kunoichi gave a nod. Alright, since Gaara and I have already introduced ourselves before the exams, I believe we should learn your name, Nibi Jinchuriki. She sighed, I was right. You did know which one. My name is Yugito ni, Nibi. Sabaku no Gaara. Ichibi. Naruto Uzumaki. Kyuubi. Yugito noted, now that we know each other, this is where I ask why you called us here. Gaara. I was recently informed about an invasion. One which Suna is involved in. What is your part? Get to the final round, and cause as much destruction from the inside. Replied Gaara. That is all I have to do. Change in plans. You're attacking Otogakure. Yugito's gaze expanded. You can't just order another village's genin around. I can with him and you. I outrank you both as a Jinchuriki. Yugito retorted, I doubt you have full control of your Biju. You're right, I don't. I can still control 8 tails, though barely. I still outrank you as a Jinchuriki. Naruto replied. Yugito drew back. Now, why, exactly, are you here, Yugito? Aside from the Chunin exams. My teammates were supposed to get the seed of the Uchiha, and a male Hyuga in these exams. I was supposed to guard them until they do. Yugito acknowledged. I can't do much else, otherwise, the shock collar they have on me would activate, killing me. Naruto's eyebrow went up. Fuinjutsu? Yugito gave a sorrowful nod. Her eyes widened as she said, let me see, what? I can probably decode it and make it so they can't place another one, after I remove it. Naruto remarked, but only if I see it. I also have a slave seal on me, you want that gone too? Yugito said, or modified. If I disobey, the slave seal can be activated or the shock collar. Naruto gave a nod. She removed her shirt, and Naruto looked at the seal on the back of her neck and saw that it was the shock collar. I'll get rid of the shock collar, and modify the slave seal. He slapped it and said, 7-star release, but Yugito did not move. After examining the slave seal, he extracted a scroll and wrote some notes on it before making some adjustments. Stasis activation. He slammed his open palm against the slave seal. Yugito's eyes grew gloomy and lifeless. He then demonstrated a number of hand signals. Naruto almost yelled, slave re. Coder, before continuing. Seal. Yugito suffocated. Right now, her face appeared more serene. Gaara glanced at him and back at her. Can you modify Mother's seal? As Naruto acknowledged, I can try. It won't be easy, though. I'm not a certified master or anything, and it would take a while, but I can do so. Gaara confessed, I wish I could sleep again. Shukaku won't allow me to without taking over my mind. Naruto gave a nod. I'll need to see your seal, as well. I'll wait until after the second part is over, however. I've been training myself nearly non-stop the last 5 months. Even I need rest. Gaara gave a nod. I understand, Kyuubi. Sama. Naruto waved him away and then lay down on the ground, saying, it's just Naruto. Besides, this is a place where mental abilities, Biju or not, cannot take place. This includes abilities that devour a mind from the inside out, or the outside in. You should be able to sleep here, Gaara. If Shukaku tries to take over, he'll go through epileptic shock. We've got 5 days. Make them count. Get as much sleep as you can. He closed his eyes and drifted off. Though cautious, Gaara gave it a shot. He was soon asleep. 3 hours before the conclusion of the second exam. When Gaara opened his eyes, he saw that he was in the garden where he had fallen asleep. Hold on. I dozed off. He frantically scanned the area to assess the damage. That didn't exist. Shukaku, what's happening? One of the male voices said, sorry cub. In my defense, I had an insane monk sealed inside of me before I got slammed in you. This place allowed me to finally kill the bastard. Follow the orders of the Kyuubi's vessel. I was only really insane because of that damn monk. You can seal a Biju into a human, but sealing a human into a demon, Biju or not, can destroy the mental state of the Biju. Thank the Kyuubi vessel for what he's done. It's thanks to him I can finally allow you to sleep. Why? Don't question it. For now, we should play along with the invasion, but play it off as me wanting to destroy Otto instead. You're following my orders, and I'm following Kira. Chan's orders. Gaara gave a nod. Alright, let's get going. You'll need to eat. Gaara was awake when Naruto arrived in the garden at that precise moment. Good to see you've awoken. Naruto noticed gratitude in Gaara's eyes as he simply gazed at him. What's the gratitude for? Gaara said, helping me sleep. I was unable to all my life. This place allowed Shukaku to ache out the source of his insanity. Naruto gave a nod. Good to know. You can sleep normally now, correct? I won't be letting you do so until after the invasion. Something is bound to happen, and when it does it would be better for you to be safe. than if someone tries to kill you to get a certain opponent to face off with. He will keep me awake until after the plan is executed. How is Yugito? Replied Gaara. She's fine. I got rid of 3 other seals, aside from the one holding back the Nibi. Believe it or not, Yugito has been trying to jump my bones all this time. Naruto was scratching his head. I can't order her to stop in front of others, because then people would know I modified her slave seal. I also integrated it into her Jinchuriki seal. If any modification is made to it, it will release the Nibi to destroy anything she wishes. Yugito is already aware of this, and she's making it so I have to use it. It's almost as if she wants it to happen. Not surprise. Nibi always liked freedom, and this one literally gave her container a hell of a lot more freedom. Shukaku clarified. I knew her a lot better than the other Biju. Never got together though. She likes getting hit by lightning, and I hate it. Why do you think I always stuck to the deserts? You're right about that. Gaara gave Naruto a look. How long until the end? Naruto answered. 3 hours from the time I entered. I came in here, to see if you had awoken. Good thing you did. You would have been disqualified, and, lower rank or not, I cannot have you disgrace the Biju from sleeping in during a fight. He then stopped. If it were Chomei's Jinchuriki, then I wouldn't be surprised. But you and Yugito? You don't get that luxury. Your team has also been bugging me to find you, since they can't. I've still been getting 10 hours of sleep a night. They are worried about me falling asleep and killing everyone here, Gaara said. That is all. Let's go, then. We have to meet with the others in the command deck in a few hours. When time is up, all creatures will disappear, and all sectors will show the way to the exit for the losers. Gaara asked, how many teams made it through? Only 6. 4 of them are from Konohagakure. And to think it's the rookie teams that made it through. In fact, aside from one of the ones from Kumogakure, all genin at this point, aside from your siblings, are guaranteed first-timers. All 4 teams from Konohagakure are first-timers. 3 of those teams graduated from the last class almost 6 months ago. As Naruto noted, let's get you something to eat. After giving a nod, Gaara accompanied Naruto to the mess hall, where Yugito spotted him and got ready to leap him before realizing Gaara was there. Her question was, so, he finally wakes. What took you so long, Ichi? Pausing, Gaara said, insomnia is a bitch. Shukaku believes that Ridley would be a welcome fight compared to insanity, induced insomnia. At that, Naruto whistled. That bad, huh? It's what he says. I should let you know right now that Ridley is on several different levels, based on the genetic material. The lowest he ever has been is on Sun's level of power with Isobu's dangerousness. Isobu is actually the most dangerous, really. He is always calm and patient. Never loses his cool. That's why Kira-chan appointed him as the Biju's strategist way back when. Naruto made the point. Even Isobu would have a hard time against Ridley. Mainly because of his lack of speed, and Ridley can fly. Those are the only things against Isobu in that matchup. At that moment, Naruto was approached by Temari and Kankuro. Temari yelled, where is Gaara? And halted 2 feet from the red-haired figure. Baki. Sensei has had us looking all over for you. You were only worried that I would destroy everything here. You were not worried for me at all. Gaara responded. What did Baki want? Kankuro let out a sigh. Temari, let's go. We have a bit of trouble to deal with. Naruto noted, if it involves Gaara, then he should go. Unaware of the significance, Temari acknowledged, it's just a matter of where he was, and how we couldn't find him. You let him out of your sight, and couldn't find him afterwards, so your sensei was thinking you were incompetent? Temari responded, but Kankuro growled, that would be about right. Kankuro reprimanded, Temari, what are you doing? Then Temari blinked. I don't know. Naruto's eyebrow went up. What kind of person is Kankuro, Temari? Headstrong, stubborn, and I think he steals my makeup. I do not. Exclaimed Kankuro. Temari blinked once more. The hell? Naruto hummed. Note to self. Experimental Seal 13 compels others in close proximity to answer against their better judgment. He then turned to Temari. He then raised his voice and said, supposedly, only females are affected. Opposite gender affected only? Is there an invasion on Konohagakure coming during the Chunin exams? Temari covered her mouth and said, yes. Who proposed it? Temari uttered a single word before her hands left her mouth. Covering it again, she said, Orochimaru. Naruto grinned. Having trouble keeping secrets, Temari? In her ear, Kankuro whispered, what are you doing? She responded quietly, I don't know, I'm answering questions with things I don't want to say. Temari glanced at Naruto right away. Do you want to invade Konoha? No, I don't. Why would you? Orders. Kankuro persisted in protesting, but Naruto kept asking questions, so they were ignored. At last another question arose. Are you a virgin? Her first response was, yes, and then she blushed in shame. Then, wondering when the topic shifted to personal inquiries, Kankuro blinked several times before asking, what's your type of guy? Temari, Yugito, and Gaara all agreed at once when he said, okay, I'm done. We have 30 minutes to get to the command deck. Let's go. I can show you a shortcut. Kankuro fell silent. To the surprise of the others, Naruto just approached a wall and passed through. He poked his head out again. Seeing no reason to respond, they simply passed through the wall. What? Did you think we'd have you go through the entire place to get there? 6 rows held a total of 18 genin. Surprisingly, 5 of them took the exams for the first time. In front of them stood the Sandaime Hokage, the clan heads of Konohagakure, a number of Chunin, and Samus and Sylux. Samus began, you know, I think I underestimated some of you. I guess what they say is true. Amateurs do better than professionals when given the chance. Some of the genin bristled at this. Before turning to face Team Asuma, Sylux added, anyway, congratulations on getting through this gauntlet at 40% max strength. Frankly, I'm surprised that some of you made it through. She turned to the Kumo team and said, especially some of you that were fighting right off the bat. Or those of you that went swimming through lava unaffected. Regardless, what you've done is something that most wouldn't be able to do. Lord Hokage. The Sandaime gave a nod. He then launched into a lengthy and drawn-out speech about the reality of the exams, how they are a substitute for war, and the history of it all. As they said, I am glad you made it through here. Sadly, using this place is a first for all but one of my shinobi, aside from Anbu, who have to take this place on at 100%. Now, to get away from all that, congratulations on passing the second exam. According to a certain redhead, this is troublesome. Can we get to the life or death part of it all now? A Chunin landed in front of him, and he said, I see some of you are impatient. Very well, let us continue. First. Excuse me, Hokage. Sama. Perhaps you would let me, Hayate Gecko, the third proctor, to explain the third exam? With a nod, the Hokage retreated, letting Hayate turn. Customary look. If you don't know what it is, look it up. Hello everyone, this is Hayate. For those of you who don't understand what's going to happen, let me explain. From now on, it's all individual. One-on-one. Teams don't matter anymore. There are also too many here, so we'll have to have a preliminary round. Before we continue, I'll have to ask who would like to quit. 2 Kunoichi from Kumo raised their hands. Yugito was neither of them. They turned to face Yugito, who quietly informed them that she still had more work to do. Ichinos and Karina Danina. Alright, you're free to go. They were a little taken aback by this since they had no idea what she meant, what it was, or why they hadn't been informed. The genin nodded, comprehending the necessity of secrecy. Alright, if no one else will quit, then we'll have you draw a number. A Chunin will escort you to your battle area. Your opponent will have the same number you do. Come forward, and pick a piece of paper from this box. When you have your number, call it out. When someone else calls your number, then both will follow the referee for the match to the assigned location. First up was Team 7. Sakura received an 8, Sasuke a 2, and Naruto a 3. Second place went to Team 8. Hinata received a score of 5. When Kiba received a 3, Naruto took notice. Shino received a 7. Next up was Team Guy. Hinata noticed that Neji had a 5 and Lee had a 1. Tenten received a score of 4. Hinata glanced at Naruto, who merely gave a nod. He was already aware of her fear. Do it. Knock him out. Was left unsaid. As Team Suna approached it, she returned the nod. Gazing at Naruto, Gaara had a 1. Naruto just gave a headshake. Temari drew a 4. Kankuro drew 7. Next up was Team 10. Ino received an 8. Shikamaru a 2. Choji received a 6. Last but not least, Yugito drew the last number. A 6. A silent command was sent by Naruto. Knock out. Without even glancing at Naruto, she nodded after mentally receiving the command, do not kill. Unknown Chunin said, if you got a 1, please come with me. He had brown eyes and midnight black hair, and he was dressed in the standard Chunin uniform. Gaara and Lee approached. Asuma took a step forward. Shikamaru and Sasuke approached him, Sasuke grinning, and said, "If you have a two, come with me." A female Chunin approached. She carried a katana on her back and had purple hair. I knew her as Yugo Azuki. "Those with a three will come with me." Kakashi took a step forward. "Four, come with me." Kurenai Yuhi took the initiative. "Those with a 5 is to follow me." Guy took the initiative. "Those with a 6 is to follow me." Rado, a man, moved forward. "My name is Rado. Those with a 7 is to follow me." The other two were examined by Gecko Hayate. Sakura nodded, then exchanged glances. "Fight 8 will take place in this room. I'll be the referee." Sakura didn't even flinch when Ino glared at her. The remaining competitors obeyed their respective referees. Ino's glare intensified, but Sakura didn't change. She was very perplexed by this. Forehead. Sakura remained silent. Rather, she removed her headband and wrapped it around her forehead instead. All but the two lost the action. "Ino. Until you go through hell, you will not be a match for me. Tell me something. What did you fight to get through? What did it look like?" Ino shot back. "Why should I tell you? Because I already know every being that would have had one of the targets. Mine was simply known as Nightmare. It was a machine that could manipulate gravity. You couldn't even compare it to the puppet masters from Suna. This thing was more dangerous." "A giant snake?" Sakura asked, seemingly intrigued. "So, you went against Ceres, nay? How'd you get by the speed? Relying on Shikamaru's wits? Or was it Choji's strength? Face it. You got by on the coattails of your team. You want to know what I did?" Ino did not speak. "I punched a large chunk of Nightmare's gravity generator, and it went flying. Can you do that?" "Yeah, right. As if a weakling like you could do that," Ino replied. "You probably stayed on the sidelines. And what's with the jumpsuit? You starting to emulate Naruto, now?" Sakura gave a headshake. "It was a gift from Naruto, yes. Emulate him? No, he gave this to me as a team member, not for romance, and made it known up front. He gave one to Sasuke as well. Naruto put me through hell, and after the 3rd day." She cracked a sadistic smile. "I loved every second of it." Ino's face revealed how shocked she was by this. "What?" She thumbed her headband and said, "Ino, you don't stand a chance. Naruto has the stamina. I have the brains. Sasuke has the refinement. We all trained each other. Not our sensei teaching us. In fact, he stayed on the sidelines during training, reading a book. Our team is self-trained. Kakashi. Sensei only taught us 3 things. Tree climbing, water walking, and elemental composition. The rest was all us. It's what happens when you have access to a library filled with jutsu from all over the elemental countries." Ino clenched her jaw and snarled. "You don't know when to shut up, you whore." Some of the people who heard Sakura say this were a little taken aback when she mentioned it. "You know, Ino. If you think that a great body is what Sasuke is after, you'll never get him to like you." Ino yelled when she heard it. "Start the match, Proctor, I'm gonna send you back to hell." Hayate leapt back to one of the higher platforms and said, "Begin." Sakura didn't even bother to dodge at first, but Ino charged right away. Sakura's arm was a blur when Ino was going to strike her with a right hook, and she blocked it at the forearm. Even Ino wasn't convinced by that. It was the fact that Sakura refused to move. As if bored, Sakura remarked, "If that's all you have, Ino, you'd be better off forfeiting. Seriously, Naruto hits harder than that. Not to mention faster. Seriously, though. If that's the best you've got, you'd never make it through Naruto's stamina bootcamp, much less the accuracy and speed down." Ino flew and Sakura's right arm blurred. Ino struck the wall, causing cracks, and Sakura struck her with a right straight. Sakura appeared to have just delivered a blow. Sakura's eyes had a faint blue tint at the edge of the iris, but no one saw it. "To me, you're moving in slow motion. Naruto is faster than you, and I can block his strikes 4 out of 10 times. Sasuke I can block 8 out of 10 times. I can hit Naruto 9 out of 10 times, but none of them faze him. Sasuke, I can hit 5 out of 10 times, though it is increasingly harder when he uses his Sharingan." "You make it sound like Naruto is a brute," Ino gasped. Without even moving, Sakura shot back, "Not a brute." At the exact moment she punched Ino, she was standing straight. Then she strolled in Ino's direction. "Naruto is a chakra tank. He is fast to think on his feet, and can improvise far better than even Sasuke. I've gone down 3 paths with their help. The first is a field medic. I can't get any proper training until Chunin, when I can apply for any medical field training, but Sasuke has gotten me what I need so far. The next is Genjutsu. You should know that the best Genjutsu users are female. Kurenai Yuhi is the best, and I asked her for tips once. Naruto had told me the same thing, just with a lot more detail. The last one is a sensor. I'm not exactly adept at it, but I'm good enough so far. In an attempt to gather her strength, Ino simply listened while sitting back. Hayate raised an eyebrow at this. You want to know what I found out when I tried looking into Naruto's chakra? I found he has more chakra than 8 Chunin on his own. And even then, there's a second chakra source that he can use, that's been adding to his reserves all this time. It was closing in on 10 Chunin the day before the first exam. You don't stand a chance against him, Gaara, or Yugito. I've seen their chakra levels. They're the highest among these exams. Even higher than the proctors. Before she could sense it, Sakura raised an eyebrow as Ino sagged over, then Sakura shut her eyes. Verdant field. When Sakura's eyes opened, she saw Ino standing directly in front of her. Nice try, Ino. In order to take over my mind, I can fight you here. What the? Forehead. One, how the hell did you get in here? Sakura gave a headshake. Training. This field is a part of my mind. I've been in Naruto's mind, and Sasuke's mind as well. All of our team have seen the others' minds. Normally, if you saw Naruto's mind, you'd think he was a pervert. It's a sewer, for corn's sake. She felt a bubble form around her mouth and said, what are MMMPH? Sakura said, I wasn't done, Ino. This is my mind. I control it. 1. Behind her, a board materialized. 2. After that, Ino was bound to the board with what appeared to be metal handcuffs protruding from it. Then the bubble escaped Ino's lips. Naruto's mind is a sewer for a reason, but it's probably not what you think. He's a pervert, that's why. No, he isn't. He was alone. He was hated. When I saw a few of his memories, I cut myself out of them. It was with his permission that I did. You and me would have committed suicide by the time we were 5 if we went through what he did. Suddenly, Naruto appeared. Naruto. What's going on? Naruto answered, Kiba went down. He probably grew 20% from graduation. So, you're still fighting Ino, huh? Sakura acknowledged, trying to get her out of the fangirl phase. In response, Naruto said, good luck. The only reason you're not a fangirl anymore is because I broke you out of it. Those crocodiles with lasers are good enough for me. Seriously, how the hell did you get a hold of them? According to Naruto, the ex-duh. Kira's got my body right active right now. I decided to see what's up with you and Sasuke. He then turned to Ino. So, how'd she get in here? The mind. Transfer jutsu. It's her clan's jutsu. You didn't tell her what I taught you about mind and soul control, did you? Didn't get that far. She did it when I was talking. Hell, I was literally giving her a chance to do so. Kira's a major help with that. Naruto smiled and said, no shit. Alright, Ino. Here's the deal. You forfeit. Sakura passes to the finals. She could kill you while you're in here, and you'll never return to your body. The nature of the Shintention no Jutsu is to transfer your soul to the target and take over their body. Basically, if she cut off an arm in here, that same arm would be useless when you go back to your body. You are out of your league with Sakura. She has increased her strength, speed, and stamina by 820% each. Her reserves went up 30-fold because of that. And she also has pinpoint control. Her practice attempts at medical ninjutsu were on herself. If she messed up, she'd kill herself, and she knew it. She learned quick. No kidding. You may be called a demon by everyone else, but to me you're what saved me from being a fangirl. Fangirls are useless, Sakura said. I was one myself, and I'm ashamed of it. I never did thank you for that. Naruto said, you didn't have to. You didn't want to be dead weight. I made it so you couldn't be dead weight. You're roughly Chunin level already, though I will admit your taijutsu still needs a little work. You should have been able to blow Ino's head off her shoulders in one hit. Sakura gave Ino a look. I blocked one punch from her, and landed a 5% strength blow to her stomach. She crashed into the wall. Naruto gave a nod. Got it. Sasuke's probably still fighting. When you're done, Kira-chan wants to talk to you. Something about level 4, Sakura gave a nod. I'll make this quick, then. I've been waiting for that set, anyway. With a dejected tone, Ino said, don't bother. I forfeit. Please, let me go back to my body. After forcing Ino from her thoughts, Sakura turned to face Naruto. I'll come by when I first the chance. Naruto flashed out after nodding. After closing her eyes, Sakura walked off the field. The command deck Sakura opened her eyes to see Ino, who had just come back to her own body. Ino gave the proctor a sidelong glance. Her voice was dejected as she said, "I forfeit." She quickly fainted. As a medic entered, Hayate said, "Looks like you win, Sakura." Knowing what to look for, Sakura beat the medics to Ino's body and examined it. Then, as the medics approached her, she started immediately healing Ino. "We'll take it from here, Haruno. I'm working toward a field medic position, but I'm only fixing the lower risk wounds that I've healed on myself," Sakura said. "You can check how well I did afterwards, and fix any mistakes I may make. I've been for some time." Sakura stopped healing and turned to face the medic, who went to check after nodding and closely observing. The remnants of 6 broken ribs, a stitched stomach, pancreas is also slightly damaged, the medic said, looking at Sakura, who nodded. After examining the rest of the body, aside from the work on the ribs and pancreas, nothing will be bad in 2 days without assistance, the medic said. She would be in good health after 3 days in a hospital bed. You definitely have a lot of potential. With a nod, Sakura said, "Thanks. Who gave you the lesson?" Sakura acknowledged, "Myself, really. Kakashi Hatake is my sensei, but he didn't teach me any of these. I worked on them myself after obtaining the majority from scrolls. On my own. I did my best, but I know I still have a long way to go. After the exams, I'll suggest that you pursue medical training. Good luck." Sakura glanced at Hayate, who merely gestured for her to accompany him as the medic carried Ino out on a stretcher. Kiba and Naruto prior to their match. "I can take you out in one move, Kiba," Naruto said, glancing at Kiba in Sector 3's desert area after they had arrived swiftly. "Forgive now," Naruto uttered. "I hope you give it a shot, dead last. I won't even move to let you use it," Kiba shot back loudly. "Kira, I'm going to use that," Naruto grinned to himself. "Never use it again, I told you." Samus did the same. "And you wish to put it to use?" Kira. "Kiba is a huge pervert. In addition, I'm going for level 3 instead of level 2, which is the original." "But wait, they haven't even tested that one," X yelled, "why now?" "Hold on. Level 3? With the Bunshin Daibakuha, it's level 2, Naruto clarified. "Take action. However, it's not my fault if Samus says anything about it." As Naruto charged chakra, he said, "I'd take full responsibility for it then." Smoke then spread throughout the area, making Kiba brace himself for boobs pressing against his back. A seductive female voice said, "Kiba. Kun." Kiba saw what Naruto was attempting and was about to scream at him when he discovered that he was surrounded by 100 of them. He forgot that Naruto was the one doing this and failed to see how it could be him. At the moment, Yugo was crouching in front of Naruto, who was on a higher level, watching him. He tapped the ground beside him and said, "I've got his 1-1. Yugo sat down. "What gives you such confidence in that?" "What?" Yugo asked. "Kiba is a pervert. In actuality, this jutsu has 3 levels. The Hokage was eliminated by level 1 in a single blow." Yugo winced a little at the breach of her Anbu cover, but Naruto pointed out that it had happened twice. "Neko. Don't worry, I haven't told anyone," she said. "In any case, level 2 is the result of combining at least 10 shadow clones with level 1. Level 2 is supplemented by level 3. One jutsu in particular is beneficial. Jiraiya of the Sannin is receiving level 3 as soon as I see him, which will appear in 3, 2, 1. At that moment, all of the girls burst into flames. Before leaping down to Kiba's shattered body and checking his pulse, which revealed that he was still alive, Naruto declared, "That was level 3. Kiba was totally unconscious, his body mangled, burned, and covered in scratches, out, but not dead. Before picking Kiba up, Yugo said, "You win this round. You ever plan on using that on whoever peaks on the hot springs?" On the other hand, Naruto stated, "If my Aunt Samus is in there, then without a doubt. That one I developed because of Jiraiya. Particularly after learning that he was to serve as my godfather. He was never present. He could have told me about him, Sannin or not." "Alright. Let's go. Are we going to leave? Then take Kiba to the medics," Yugo said, nodding. "I am more familiar with this place than most. I don't know it as well as Samus does. I am a company designer for this place, after all." Naruto then ran off and jumped to the higher levels before entering another sector. More specifically, Sector 1, and then back up. Yugo watched as he did, before shaking her head and carrying Kiba out, while muttering under her breath, "Perverts." She was unaware that Kira had taken control as soon as Naruto arrived in Sector 1, and that Naruto had entered Sakura's mind. With Sasuke, the battle lasted 75 minutes, and their battlefield was in Sector 5, one of the frozen regions. Sasuke, wearing his Varia tracksuit, was insulated from the cold, while Shikamaru fainted from frostbite. Sasuke was able to anticipate every move Shikamaru would make without the use of his Sharingan or a single jutsu. When Shikamaru finally passed out, Sasuke led him to a warmer area, followed by a proctor. Opponent or not, he's still a Konoha shinobi. Sasuke said. He fainted from frostbite. Asuma nodded. Do you think you can help? Yes, warm him up. No, anything else? Sasuke acknowledged. That's Sakura's department. It was a battle of attrition, and the match is over. In a place where I could go anywhere and be okay, he couldn't find me. I was aided by the Varia track suit that Naruto created. The work he put into it was well worth it. It's unfortunate that Shikamaru isn't moving on, Asuma said, nodding. Ino may advance to the last round. As he continued to gradually thaw Shikamaru's frostbite, Sasuke remarked, from what I understand, your team won't be in the final round. Ino is against Sakura. Sakura wouldn't have much of a chance back at the academy. Sakura's physical strength has increased by at least 8 times since then. She uses genjutsu, is a sensor, and is a medic. In addition to a vicious right hook. Ino will either die or be publicly humiliated if she doesn't change at all. I believe you also believe Choji won't pass. Asuma's eyebrow went up. To Asuma's surprise, Sasuke said, Choji won't pass because he's up against a Jinchuriki. Yugito Ni is a Jinchuriki, yes. I'm not sure which one. At this stage, there are 3 Jinchuriki. Yugito, Gaara, and Naruto. It's likely that all 3 of them will advance to the final round. You're already aware of Naruto's burden, aren't you? Sakura and I have been on his mind, Sasuke replied, kind of hard not to. All of us have been in each other's thoughts. Kakashi knows very little about how we do it. Just that we practice meditation. The only exception is Naruto, who possesses the Kyuubi, which gives the Biju control over the body while he is away. Not much has changed, really. That's how I once saw him. When he got to a good point, Sasuke stopped warming Shikamaru up, saying, he should be fine with rest, but that's about all I can do. He was speaking to Sakura, who was unconscious at the time. By the way, the Kyuubi hasn't done anything Naruto hasn't wanted to, mainly to prove she's only a threat if threatened, Asuma said, nodding, adding in his mind that he should inform the Hokage of the information about Naruto. That should be included if you're going to tell the Hokage that. Sighing, Asuma said, you seem to know protocol far too well. Naruto is to blame for that. He is aware of all of them and knows how to avoid them. He has only shared those that pertain to me, Sasuke acknowledged. Who do you think would advance to the finals, given your intimate knowledge of these individuals? Sakura, Naruto, and I are inevitable. Gaara and Yugito are almost a given as well. Lee faces a Jinchuriki with 2 lines of defense and neither ninjutsu nor genjutsu. Pure taijutsu is insufficient for Gaara, Sasuke said, adding that Neji versus Hinata is somewhat up for debate. I'm not sure how good Neji is, but his hatred and conceit seem to be aimed at Hinata and are worse than mine. However, I am unsure of Hinata's current position. Which of them would move on, I couldn't tell you. Unless it takes place in a less populated part of Sector 6, Temari versus Tenten is a one-sided match. Apart from the requirement of Sector 6, Temari would prevail in that battle. And the final one? Kankuro versus Shino? Sasuke acknowledged that it's difficult to think about. It's an Aburame versus a puppet user. The match is actually evenly matched. Who survives longer will determine that one. Needless to say, Sasuke was correct on all of them. Yugito knocked Choji out with a single blow, even when he was using the human boulder technique. Temari and Tenten fought in Sector 1, not the 6 cannon fight. Gaara only seriously hurt Lee, preventing him from walking or using his right arm for a few weeks. It will heal eventually, but it won't jeopardize his shinobi career. In Sector 4, the match between Shino and Kankuro concluded with Shino emerging victorious before he eventually passed out. Neji versus Hinata. Even with his Byakugan, Neji had trouble locating Hinata. Most of what he saw was a group of gelatinous creatures, which also came from the monsters that were in the training grounds before, and he was unable to locate her through them. These two were fighting for a good half an hour before the start of their match, and Hinata would never forgive herself if she let Naruto down. She had to win for his sake. As this was going on, Hinata was concealed with a bow. She quietly notched an arrow, hoping Neji wouldn't notice, and tied it to her fingers with a single thin chakra line that she had perfected for another technique. Before Neji could react, she released the arrow, guided it to his back, and struck true. He coughed up some blood, and Hinata moved without a word. Neji turned around frantically before fainting, and soon she was on the ground beside him, bow in hand. Neji. Nissan, ranks and titles mean nothing in regards to skill level, Hinata said. You would win in traditional Jukin. I am aware of this. I went for a long range fight for that reason. Before I realized that those gelatinous creatures were most likely obstructing your view of me, I'm not sure why you didn't notice me with your Byakugan. Without using my Byakugan, I hit you. I apologize, Nissan, but you are mistaken about the existence of fate. I'm called weak by the elders. They don't bother to inquire about my personal habits. You lost because of it, too. You claimed destiny had predicted your victory. Winners are not chosen by fate. Only after a death. That's all. You. How we live has nothing to do with fate, destiny, or chance. Chance is too unpredictable. Being born is everyone's destiny. Death is everyone's destiny. The individual determines how and when. It is known as free will, which you were denied by the elders. Hinata noted, I gave Naruto a copy of the seal on your forehead, or so they think. He has been trying to figure out how to get rid of the seal and prevent them from putting one more in. He told me that it should take him at least a week to get there. You simply wait. Soon, that seal will be removed. It bothers me. Not at all. The fact that Hinata actually had the audacity to defy the elders was unknown to them, but Heishi heard that point and made a note to speak with Naruto about it himself. Observation space. I'll have to talk to Naruto about this. I've wanted this, and I also asked Heishi for the same thing, but he died before it was finished. Maybe Naruto can do what his father wasn't able to do. Heishi was present during the fight between Hinata and Neji, and he smiled slightly when Hinata was declared the winner. However, as she explained what she had done, his smile turned into a smirk. He turned off the screen that displayed the fight after the others saw the smirk and almost glared at him. Hinata was declared the winner of her match, he said, as the smirk turned back into a tiny smile before his face returned to neutral. As she entered Hinata into the data, Samus nodded and said, all that's left is Sasuke and Shikamaru. They're in Sector 5 and a frozen section to boot, Sylux said, glancing at Shikaku. I don't know how long Shikamaru could endure the cold, but given Sasuke's suit, I wouldn't be shocked if he made it an attrition-based fight and caused Shikamaru to get frostbite. The Anbu commander watched as Sasuke gave no clues to his skills in anything other than stealth, and he was admittedly pretty damn good at it, too. After Sasuke finished, he said, if nothing else, I seriously hope that Naruto and Sasuke are made into Chunin. The final screen showed Sasuke successfully hiding from Shikamaru in the frozen wasteland, and all of the clan heads looked at it. Sasuke would easily pass the Anbu if he passed the mental exams. Naruto is capable. He needs that experience now. Team Kakashi is an excellent team that is simple to contact. Somewhere, in front of a silhouette stood a man with silver hair and glasses. Kabuto. Why was Sasuke-kun nowhere to be found? I don't know what was happening at the time. The Forest of Death has been used by Konohagakure. Like you, I was taken aback by the abrupt shift in location. The person with the silver head said, my lord, I completely expected it to be in the Forest of Death myself. Kabuto, I am getting impatient. Don't let me down again. Before the invasion, I have to mark my new host, the Shadow uttered. I doubt that reaching him would be simple. He has far worse records than he ought to have. Aside from a Kumogakure team, I had heard that only the novices advanced past the second portion. There, 2 of my teammates had perished from an unidentified illness. Since there were no remains when they passed away, I was also unable to obtain a sample. They screamed, something arrived, and then they collapsed. I was unable to determine the reason behind their implosion, and I have no idea what caused it. Even the council and the Hokage don't know what Konohagakure has. It is not documented anywhere or in any records. At that moment, an orange suit approached them, glancing at them both. The helmet turned to face Kabuto and then the Shadow, then continued walking silently until it stopped and pointed the cylinder on its right arm at Kabuto. A high-pitched voice said, you have the scent of my brethren on you. No one knows that I had survived. Only one person is what I'm pursuing. I won't hurt you if you don't stand in my way. After reading the report of a B-rank mission without any members listed, Kabuto finally recognized what this thing was. You're the suit that eliminated Mizuki, aren't you? I'm not familiar with that name. It is only recently that I have come to this world. I'll locate my brothers. I'll guide them to victory over the Federation. And I'll eliminate the source of our existence's misery. What exactly do you want to kill? Samus is her name. Aaron Samus. Aaron Samus. She's new in the village, Kabuto asked. However, I don't get it. How did she affect you? You're not worried about that. I want to kill her myself. The Centaurian Jafaln race has retaliated against her. Additionally, she is powerless to stop us this time. Kabuto. On this Samus Aran, what have you discovered? Other than the fact that she is the Yondaime Hokage's biological brother, nothing was recorded. A blood relative, enabling the discovery of additional information. Additionally, it is discovered that she lacks chakra, which prevents her from using ninjutsu or genjutsu. Additionally, mind control has failed twice on her, and she is known to be immune to sight and sound genjutsu without trying. After pausing, Kabuto pulled out a card and said, she's a bounty hunter, apparently a retired soldier of some federation that I can't find any records on. Her mental fortitude is far beyond that of the average Jinchuriki. Aside from Team Kakashi, no one has seen her unidentified suit and survived to tell about it. There are also no records on the suit. That's not all you know. Since I formed based on her suit 10 years ago, I am the only person who knows more about it than she does. I guess I assumed she would be a little problematic, apparently not anymore. I will kill Samus myself, and get my brethren to help. It turns out that Naruto Uzumaki is also the nephew of a Samus Aran, so Kabuto added, there is one more stipulation I should add. Little gelatinous creatures have apparently been spotted on his shoulder ever since he left the academy. He refers to them as X and claims that only he and Samus can be with them all the time or take them without experiencing any negative effects. That jerk. In his suit, she managed to recreate the Metroid data once more. It will be more difficult because of that. Whatever, she will still pass away. Are you familiar with these X? The Shadow asked. My brethren are them. The Federation's desire to turn us into tools will be funded. We won't follow a leader we could kill without hesitation. My race is in danger from Samus Aran. It appears that someone else has been targeted, even though she is the only threat. He wouldn't have any experience. He'll be the first to pass away. It will be simpler. A green X then materialized in front of the suit. Oh, who among you discovered me first? Samus would have killed you all, I had assumed. Who are you? Naruto does not consider you a friend. But the X said, your coding is similar to his suit. You mean comparable coding? You are endangering your own kind if you threaten Naruto. We are partners with him and Samus. I see it. One of us is you. Even after Samus had come, Naruto was the one who kept us alive. Samus has given us his approval, provided that we don't hurt Naruto. How long is his name? Why, Naruto Uzumaki. The suit turned to face Kabuto. Apparently, Naruto Uzumaki has been spotted with my brethren. Have you got anything on him? The Shadow declared, he is a threat to my plans. He is preventing me from my goals. I don't give a damn about your objectives, Snake. All I want to know is what threatens mine. Which is retaliation for my race's near extinction. Retaliation against Samus is unnecessary. You must be among the copies of her suit that have survived, am I right? The suit glanced at the tiny X and nodded slightly. So Samus won't hurt you if you don't hurt Naruto. All she was defending was what she valued most. She was aware that there weren't many of our kind. She now understands our methods thanks to us. Naruto is in charge of us. We start by listening to him. His commands come first for any of us on this planet. We'll pursue you if you're after him. You are traitors to your own kind for following a meager human. You're not interested in following. I understand this much. But how did you make it through the explosion? Right now, that's all I want to know. You are a traitor to your own kind, the suit said, raising its arm cannon. If you follow him, then I will not say. Before the suit could fire, the X fled through a wall, saying, if you find any of them, I'm in this with my own men. You'll die. There are traitors among us. I understand. So you'll support us when we invade the village? Kabuto inquired. The traitors have to perish. You have your agenda, and so do we. They occur at the same time that this settlement is destroyed. We'll remove what we desire. You do as you please. You won't follow our instructions, and we won't follow yours. I understand. You're willing to assist with the attack, but you won't do as we say? Correct. Very well. If they have these headbands, they are on our side, Kabuto said, taking out two of them, one from Suna and the other from the Otogakure Genin. You only need to know that. We will retaliate if they attack me or my soldiers, keep that in mind. With Naruto in front of Samus, Sylux, Ibiki, and Anko on the docking bay, the Chunin exam finalists were prepared to leave, with the exception of Shino, who was hospitalized after contracting poisoning. All right, maggots. These are the last rounds. Round 1. Yugito Ni vs Naruto Uzumaki. Round 2. Sabaku no Gaara vs Sasuke Uchiha. Round 3. Sabaku no Tamari vs Sakura Haruno. Round 4. Hinata Hyuga vs Shino Aburame. The training period is 1 month. Learn a few new moves, perfect your existing ones, or simply unwind. You have a choice. All of the genin nodded when Enko said, just make sure you're ready in 30 days. Dismissed. Samus, Sylux, and Naruto were the only ones who stayed. All right, Naruto, it looks like I'm going to train you myself, he said. I have a few things to work on, Naruto said, shaking his head. In fact, a friend of mine values one of them. The invasion comes next. I'm getting a really bad feeling regarding the X, he said, trailing off before looking up. I'm not sure why, but it somehow has to do with the invasion. Sylux said, you're probably overthinking things. Is there anything you can learn from it? Said Samus, shaking her head. A green X approached Naruto just as he was about to respond, asking, what's up? After surviving, one of the BSL station suits encountered Kabuto and a shadow. He called me a traitor to our race by following a human, Naruto and Samus said in shock. I think the shadow is Orochimaru. Naruto gave Samus a stern look, and Samus gave it back. That would it, Naruto said, and Samus nodded. I have it here. I'm positive it is, said Samus. We must get ready. Before coming here, it could have multiplied on its own. How many did you see? It's been 10 years since then, Samus remarked. Just one. However, they are pursuing you and everyone who is under Naruto. Samus received a call from the Federation at that precise moment. Patch them through. Why are you taking so long to get the suit back, Samus? You instructed me to locate the suit and, if required, destroy it. Samus said into the phone, I finished my objective 4 about 5 months ago. You were to return it to the Federation. I am currently staying with my only blood family after following instructions. It seems like you missed Weevil as well. There were no reports of Weevil in the region. Was there a report of Sylux nearby? No, only rumors of the Delano 7. Samus said, Sylux is right next to me, just like my nephew. Your military records say you have no blood relatives. This is due to the fact that he was placed on the dead list for an incident that occurred decades ago. He passed away 13 years ago, Samus shot back. Make sure your nephew is on the line. It would be nice to talk to him. After giving Naruto a silent message, Samus handed him the phone and said, all right, what do you want? We would like to ask you to join our... Naruto interrupted, saying, not happening. I am already a member of a military. We are not under the jurisdiction of the Federation. I can't be forced to come see you. I have been learning all of the Federation's laws from Samus. I am completely familiar with your laws and regulations. Additionally, I am not a registered citizen of the Federation. I have very little exposure to the Federation and no Federation influence where I am. As long as you don't threaten us, we pose no threat to you. That's how easy it is. Are you aware that the suit was activated illegally? And that your aunt was meant to either destroy it or bring it back? I am aware of the suit, of course. My soul is connected to it. It cannot be destroyed. There's no way, because I could always make it come back. You are powerless to change it. There was nothing tangible about the power suit that was activated. We have been keeping an eye on the suit's code and are aware that it has been in use. You are identified as a Federation soldier by that suit. Without being registered as one, you are unable to use it. I apologize. Not going to occur. My aunt is a former military member. She still has hers because of this. I haven't entered the Federation yet. You are unable to harm me without going beyond your area of expertise. I will only be visiting if I come. I already serve in a military that is currently unaware of your influence, so I will not join yours. You can't do anything to me or my house until it's within your jurisdiction, and you won't have to disclose that there is an illegal suit out there. You must be aware of what this means. There is no connection if you're referring to the mission my aunt was on. I've read the orders in writing. I've located the weaknesses. She doesn't need to bring the suit or me to you. She sees no need to destroy the suit because her mission was accomplished. You and her would be outlaws in the Federation. Good attempt. Samus is necessary for you. Both you and I are aware of it. Without giving up the only person who could deal with threats to you from outside your jurisdiction, you cannot label her an outlaw. However, I think a compromise can be reached. Sylux and Samus were unaware of this. Oh, and what on earth could you think of? What are you, 17, 18 years old? Naruto answered, 13, actually. I actually thought this would come up eventually, so I thought of a compromise in case it did. My suit is marked as an experimental project by you. One that the user could choose to make disappear and then reappear. Because my suit does just that. Since it was a more covert endeavor, you didn't learn about it until it had already achieved success. It may surprise you to learn that I have already done so with Samus and her outfit. What do we gain from it? I'm not finished with our end of things. This surprised Sylux. I already know you don't have data for several weapons that I have already created, he said. The next point that should be made is that you pardon Sylux for any actions done against the Federation. From here, I have already gained access to your R&D department twice. If a 13-year-old can hack into your system, your security has really deteriorated. I can form a silent partnership with you because I have the data for it. You get 1 point for that. I highly doubt that. Oh, and the creation of Samus's old Omega suit? I seem to remember that all 62 test subjects were killed when the suit was activated, and the experiments for that have since been discarded. They're unable to cope. I have already identified the issue after analyzing the data for each one. I can fix a few things and incorporate the majority of the weapons I discovered already finished into both Samus's and my own suits. The capabilities of my suit are identical, and I've even enhanced it using Sylux's shock coil data. Additionally, I saw that your men haven't even been able to resolve the issue without the suit that Sylux took. It worked thanks to Sylux. You were unable to. A partner who is silent, and you think you're capable of doing all of this? Naruto responded, I've done fine so far. The organic body would be degenerated by the original shock coil's capabilities. Sylux needed the suit in order to function. It would be nearly impossible to fully utilize the suit without the appropriate additions. It contained elements of Sylux's finished version, which is the only reason Samus could use it in the Alimbic cluster. Even so, it was altered to become the Omega Cannon's data, which was erased before you could obtain it. Oh, you also believe that you can obtain the data for it? Naruto grinned and said, all that, and more. I keep the suit, Samus doesn't turn into an outlaw. Sylux is forgiven and free to move around the Federation without fear, and I don't have to be registered as a soldier or work for you as a mercenary. I can create data for weapons you can't, and more, in exchange. But before I send them up, I would test them out. First, you have to make sure they function. As a citizen of the Federation, I have all the rights of a silent partner, developer, and developer. By combining the Ice Beam data from Samus with a few other points that you do not have and never will, I have already successfully recreated a version of the Judicator. That's what I'm suggesting. Before the person returned, Naruto heard some conversation in a few other languages. I've discussed it with the others, Naruto said. It is at a standstill. Without any conditions, we want the suit. After a brief pause, Naruto said, put me on speaker, if I am not already. Done. Signaled, so he put his on speaker and listened to everyone. You've allowed the power to control you. I wouldn't have come in the first place because of those of you who only want the no stipulations. You are merely power. Hungry fools who would turn traitor if you were given more authority. I would kill you as soon as I found out if I did. To be honest, I don't like power-hungry fools. I would only give you 2 words, the finger, severe pride damage, and widespread public humiliation. You have to accept my suggestion or lose out on 2 outstanding warriors, cutting edge weapons that nobody is currently aware of, and the final item that will shield you from unidentified dangers. We'll simply send you our army. Your coordinates are with us. We have far more military might than you 3. You fool. We must tell the public why if we do that. Our reputation will be destroyed if we do that and it becomes known that we are not the only ones wearing power suits. We must do this for precisely that reason, the initial one yelled. What if there are others present besides us? You only know of the 3 of us, asked Naruto. You have no idea how many life forms are actually present here, let alone what we are capable of. We may be more civilized than you, or we may be barbarians. We might also be a mix of the 2. You're also missing 2 suits because I could use what we have to make Sylux's suit. To be honest, you lack the manpower and knowledge about us necessary to even declare war on a planet. You know, he's got a point. We are essentially facing 2 of our strongest allies in history, as well as an unidentified force with unidentified technology and capabilities. If we invade his planet, we wouldn't be able to defend ourselves against any other potential attack since we would be sending our men in blind. Naruto stated, my point exactly. I give you what you want, and you give me what I want. That or, the way you're going, declare war on forces you don't even know exist, leaving you vulnerable to an attack from somewhere else. With my suggestion, you avoid going to war, maintain your safety, and gain more potent weapons. I am free, and so is Samus and Sylux. Nobody panics, and you maintain your credibility. I remain here for as long as I want to or must, as though this unmarked planet were a test site for the weapons I develop, which is actually the case. In my opinion, all parties benefit. There were murmurs on the other side, but Samus and Sylux remained silent, unwilling to jeopardize whatever message Naruto was trying to convey to them. All right, you've got your deal. However, we maintain the right to inquire about the status of any projects you are engaged in. Naruto grinned and said, get it done, and call back when everything about Sylux's criminal history and jail records are gone. Samus and Sylux nodded at him. After completing her mission, Samus is free to move around. Send a physicist accompanied by 4 soldiers with the proof once it has been written in permanent ink so I can verify it. After that, our collaboration will be formally established. The soldiers are not an attacking force. They are merely the physicist's guards. Ensure they are aware of that point. And how do we know you'll keep your end? I'm here to make sure you fulfill your end. We will never be able to determine who is cheating on whom without evidence on both sides. This will accomplish that, Naruto informed them. Another interrupted, saying, you better impress us, we'll do so. Hey. Naruto answered, I'll see you then. I'm sure I'll knock your socks off. Make sure we are aware of their arrival time. We can then set up a suitable reception. We understand the circumstances. All right. Naruto turned off the speaker and put it to his lips, saying, fuck off, before I forget the 2 words I would have said if you had rejected my proposal. After hanging up, he returned the phone to Samus and said, well, it appears that I have a lot of work ahead of me. I need to get enough ready so that we can counter the Saw. X copies of an unknown number and everything goes as planned. Create a special division under your leadership, Samus. Why me? Samus asked. Yes, but why her? Because she is able to speak with them. I've been working on the new body for you, Sylux, but you can't just yet, Naruto said. It will age just as I do. I'll be creating an aging X body for you to live in while entering all of the data from your suit that we have in ours. If you would like to review the form, I have it prepared. Samus and Sylux both nodded. Wait, how did you obtain the measurements? She'd have to fit the suit, asked Samus. Naruto grinned and said, her suit will be a 1 size. Fits. All fit, just like mine and yours. After all, it's a bloodline. I finally got confirmation. You're building a body for Sylux. You tell the Federation leaders to fuck off, Samus sighed. Is there anything else you need to work on? The Saw. X destroyers and the replacement of the caged bird seal. Naruto glanced at the remaining green X and said, those are my current projects. Let the others know that we're going to make a lot more Saw X, but this time we're using my suit data. We'll refer to them as the NUN X. None. X. Namikaze, Naruto Uzumaki. My legal full name. Not Etherway, but Namikaze was my father's name. At her nod, he went on, Etherway became Namikaze here. Unless I'm mistaken, the Etherway family was killed some time ago. You're an Aaron. Blood still binds us. Let's go ahead now. They both nodded, and the 3 of them entered a second portal that opened. I have projects to finish and shit to build. 1 week later. For some reason, Hishi had summoned Naruto to the Hyuga compound, and when he was led to Hiishi's study, he discovered Hinata there already. Hinata, what's happening? Papa. He is aware, she remarked softly. Gosh. I was hoping to get in, change them, and leave. Naruto sighed. Well, you clearly have a reason for keeping the escorts in the dark about why you brought me here. The information on it should not be disclosed. Why? Actually, that is not why you're here, Hishi said, his expression emotionless. I called you here. Hinata and Naruto both looked surprised when he said, we'll have to do so gradually, depending on how long it takes to get it done. To discuss when you're putting it on the entire branch family. For 2 seconds. With a slight smirk, Naruto answered, it was painless. That's how long it took to replace Neji's. Just after I finished it yesterday, he approached me. You've replaced one already? Naruto shrugged and said, I had to make sure it worked. That only confirmed the theory that it would. It still appears the same and requires no activation. What's different is the formula underneath. We will do so tomorrow night, Hishi said, nodding. I'll give them a map of their accommodations. Not necessary. Simply let me know which buildings they aren't in, and I'll enter and finish it. Oh, how will you be able to tell which is which? Who do you think hung your panties over the north gate? Naruto grinned. We were wondering who could have done that, Hishi said, shaking his head. Since they were stained that night, hiding the scent of the offender, Sume wanted to catch whoever did it. Well, that evening, I stole the underwear from every clan member. Really, if I can do that as an academy student and not get caught, security sucks around here. Naruto shot back, my last one was actually completed without anyone noticing. It was directed at the member of the Haruno Council. My teammate also made the request. They all sleep in 3 buildings, Haishi sighed. Those buildings are not used by unmarked members, the patrols. They remain unchanged from the previous time. I've been using a shadow clone to check periodically. You do this, I may just let you date my daughter, Haishi said, nodding. Naruto glanced at Hinata, who blushed profusely before fainting with a smile. I'm not really looking for romance at this point, he said. Besides, it's unsafe for her to go out with me even if I do this now. 37% of shinobi and 84% of civilians still despise me. I will never be able to date her without something negative happening until I can reduce it to 20% of civilians and no shinobi. I'm not a moron. I am aware that people will continue to hate me and want her dead because they believe I brainwashed her. The only reason I haven't asked her out myself is because of this. Aside from that fainting issue, she still has it. So why do this? Haishi sighed. Because I'm eliminating an injustice, even if we don't go out. Naruto then turned to face the wall and said, even if this place is bugged, no one else would know. In any case, everything will proceed according to plan, and nobody will be aware of it. When Haishi used his Byakugan, he discovered something that wasn't supposed to be there. Who would? The elders. Naruto said, I have this frequency jammer because I wouldn't rule it out before removing a gadget. People on the other end can't hear anything because it's interfering with the device's frequency. Now, he took out a pair of earplugs and handed them to Haishi, and put another pair in Hinata's ears. Put those in. After Haishi said, I'm going to activate the next point, Naruto pressed a green button, provoking a screech that resulted in 3 sparks before smoke appeared in each point. Naruto then gestured for him to remove the plugs, which he did. Banshee emitter. For at least a month, anyone on the other side of those devices will experience hearing issues. You can find out who bugged your room by looking for them. Good luck, Haishi said, nodding. For this, I would deposit 100,000 Ryu into your account. Naruto shook his head. People will know I made them and hold you accountable if you do that. Pretending to be ignorant is the best course of action. In addition, I receive monthly compensation from Etherway Inc., D ranks, C ranks, and a 20% cut of Higurashi weapons Fuinjutsu sales. I am, after all, their primary source for items based on Fuinjutsu. Nowadays, I've essentially created every Fuinjutsu item in that store. Do you want to talk about something else, or are we done here? No, you can leave. But all you have to do is tell me if you want to date Hinata. I'll consider it. I know exactly where Hinata's room is, and I'll be putting one on her lower back in the shape of a wolf, but there are no guarantees. Naruto stood up and made his way to the door. Pretend it's a tattoo. That's when he left the room. 2 days later. This is the room where you battle that spider thing to get space jump. Sylux and Naruto were standing in TG-69. En's auxiliary power room, where a gelatinous body was resting on a table. Sylux inquired. This is just the basic material. The body will have all of Samus's and my points when you and it merge, and you can put on the suit with a single thought. Following the merger, the appearance will be appropriate. How do I do it? Sylux asked, nodding. Sylux immediately followed Naruto's instructions to just place your hand on the body and focus on it. For a few seconds, the green gelatin body glowed, and then the glow faded, revealing a female 5 feet 6 inches with 32C breasts, a lean yet muscular body that allowed for strength and speed, and a slight hourglass figure. Her hair was shoulder length and dark brown. Then her eyes opened, revealing a hazel iris in each. After examining the body, she stood up and turned to face Naruto. He was blushing profusely and had forgotten one thing. She had no clothes on. What's wrong, Naruto? After drawing a scroll, Naruto gave it to her. You can bleed now. Wipe some blood on the inner circle. He didn't even look at her until she became aware of her nudity. She laughed. Please, you built this body. You have full rights to oogle at its completed form. Without looking, Naruto shook his head. As Sylux was getting dressed, he heard the distinctive sound of an unsealing. It's not right for a guy to do that to a woman, no matter how pleasing it would be. Sylux said in that slightly abrasive yet feminine voice, all right, I'm decent. Naruto looked around and gave a nod. Why did you not want to look at the body you created for me? Because I didn't create it to stare at it all the time. I made it so you can use it for yourself. It's basically just starting the menstrual cycles at the first one the moment you merge. The body itself is that of a 14-year-old, Naruto stated. Sylux asked, and if I asked you to do so? Naruto took a few steps back. You wouldn't, would you? Depends. Sylux stood up from the table to feel the body's equilibrium. I'll have to work on using the body without the suit. I'm too used to the suit alone. I'll have to get my skill back into my head. Naruto gave a nod. When a door in the room opened, Samus landed in her suit on the floor and then put it away. So, who's this? Samus appeared shocked when he was told, Samus, meet Sylux. She glanced at Naruto and said, I saw the picture, but this is unreal. How did you manage this? Naruto gave a head tap. I've got a vixen in my head, and an X that was absorbed into me that had all of your memories when they infected you. What do you think? Samus began to sweat. Sylux continued to experiment with her limbs in an attempt to feel everything in the variations in her center of gravity. Although, Sylux is gonna need a sparring partner. You know, to get a feel for her new body. We've got what? 3 days before the Federation get here? 2 days. Was Samus's response. Without being instructed, a few yellow X entered Sylux and absorbed themselves into her, saying, I can probably get it done. Before Naruto and Samus realized that nothing was happening, Sylux was on the verge of losing it. You've got the immunity on your human form. I'll be leaving Samus to your physical conditioning. I've got 10 shadow clones working on the Nun X Battalion. I'll be going up against a few of the higher level beings here. I'll steer clear of Ridley, though. What about your projects? I'll be presenting the Judicator data when they arrive. It's already complete and ready to demonstrate. I've been working on a long-range application. Basically, an ice version of the Imperialist. Replied Naruto. Samus gave a nod. After that, Naruto dashed in the direction of the wall, climbed it to escape again, and left. First Sector 50 Nun X were arranged in a 5x10 configuration. Naruto's shadow clone gazed at them. Alright, everyone. You all know what's going to happen in a few weeks. Your job is to make sure it doesn't cause any damage to our home. For the next 2 weeks, you will be learning to work out your suits. All of you have the same abilities, and there are more of you on the way. Remember, we're doing this for our home. We can't let those 10-year-old knockoffs to take out our home. Our family. You're a part of my family. That's why I made a way for you to help protect yourselves. It is to help out the family. Remember the 3 rules. Protect that which is precious to you, defend those you care for with both arms, and remember where true strength comes from. Alright, target practice. Naruto stated, as targets rose in the area. C. Naruto acknowledged, this is more for your targeting systems than actual practice. We have to make sure everything is perfect. You are Alpha Squadron, of the Nun X Battalion. You are to set the example. The next batch will look up to you for advice. Make sure you can give them the advice they need. Right. 2 days later, there were some flares in the center of Training Ground 7, and Naruto, Sylux, not wearing her suit, and Samus, in her zero suit, were standing there. Still perplexed as to why the flares were on the ground in the clearing, the Sandaime Hokage was also present. Naruto, you said they'd be coming here, to negotiate something, but wouldn't they use the gate? Naruto narrowed his eyes and said, Gigi, they're in orbit right now. They're looking for a signal. The flares are the signal. They've picked it up. At that moment, a cargo ship began to appear. See the Star Wars Lambda-class Imperial shuttle. After crossing the landing zone, it made a sharp turn and continued to descend, repositioning its side wings. In front of Naruto and the others, a tiny ramp descended from the underside. The physicist arrived with an official wearing gray slacks and 6 soldiers. They cast a scornful glance at the welcoming committee. The gray-suited man appeared dissatisfied. And here I thought the protection of the area would be higher, he continued. Despite the guns pointing at him, Naruto moved closer to him. Then Naruto extended his hand. We do things differently here. This place is actually far more secure than you think. Really? Then how come I can only see Samus, some brown-haired girl, and an old man in robes? Not to mention a kid. Naruto's eyebrow went up. First off, the old man is the leader of the village you're landing in. I'd show some respect to him if I were you. You could be killed in an instant. Sarutobi moved ahead. Hiruzen Sarutobi, Sandaime Hokage. It appears one of my subordinates has something you claim to be yours, when it is ingrained to his soul. Care to explain this? You did not let him know. He knew of the suit, not where it came from. It's not widely known who has one, aside from Samus and Sylux. Replied Naruto. So, are you one of those bigots that rejected the idea? Samus stepped forward and said, "No, he is not. Colonel Blazinda, it's been some time." "That it has, Samus. I'm sorry for what those idiots were trying to do to your only living family. Honestly, I think the kids got brass balls, or something," the man replied. Naruto turned to face the evident scientist. "And you are? Dr. Richardson. Am I to assume you are Naruto Uzumaki?" Shook his head, the scientist said, "You assume correct. I don't believe you." Naruto let out a sigh. When she got here, Samus needed a pod to recharge her suit. She has not used the pod in her ship for what? 5 weeks? 4 months. Ever since you made the modification. Seriously, I like what you've done with it. Naruto gave a nod. "How is Sylux's physical conditioning going?" Sylux gestured with his thumb. "I've got it down pat. It's just going back and forth and readjusting to the suit that's a problem at this point." Naruto gave a nod. The researcher raised an eyebrow. "That cannot be Sylux. Sylux is at least 50 years old at this point. She looks barely 15. Naruto noted, "Her organic body was destroyed. I managed to make her a new one. It wasn't easy, let me tell you. It took 10 days to do, and get everything perfect. If I was even the slightest bit off in the calculations, it would never work. It was a one-shot deal. I got it on the first one." The researcher gave a nod. "I can only imagine. Perhaps you managed to take a dead body and put it through a reconfiguring pod." Naruto interrupted him, saying, "No pods. The tech here, sadly, is not Federation standard. We rely more on our own bodies than technology. Me? I use both, and interchange between them. I've even built cross-weaponry from genetics into suit data. The Hiyout and Bloodline is what helped me create the Ice Beam data, and the Judicator data for pinpoint accuracy." In an attempt to trip Naruto, the scientist inquired, "How did you configure the alembic perforators?" Naruto shot back, "Who said anything about alembic perforators? No, I used a Trace Plasma T.32 Forager in place of the usual stabilizer." Whistling, the scientist said, "Didn't think you'd catch on to that. The alembic perforators didn't work for us. That's probably because you didn't know what you were going for. I knew what programming sequences mean what, and can reconfigure any code into a different point." "Alright, what am I missing here?" Asking Sylux, Sarutobi asked. "Basically, it's science talk for what he did to recreate a few things Samus came across," she said. "And the physical reconditioning?" As Naruto and the scientist conversed about a variety of topics that some of you would never comprehend, Sylux retorted, "New body. My last one deteriorated because of long-term usage of my suit. The new body is much better, and is also what you see now." The colonel cleared his throat. Naruto nodded as the scientist and he exchanged glances. "I think it's time for us to move on with why I came here. You've got the contract, right?" He turned to face the soldiers after nodding. "If you're looking for a table," he said, shocking everyone else aside from Samus and Syluxa by covering his right arm with an arm cannon. He used a blue beam to shoot 4 points into the ground. After the appearance of 4 ice pillars, an ice sheet developed on top of them. "Here it is. It also won't thaw out, like normal ice. Won't work in a flaming building or in volcanoes." Naruto replied. "Still gotta work that point out." The scientist acknowledged, "That's still a lot farther than we've gotten." Colonel Blazinda produced a pile of documents. "We'll need Sylux and Samus here to sign everything as well. They're a part of this, after all. According to Sarutobi, we'll all read it, including me, as it is my subordinate you're contracting." After reading it 3 times, Naruto nodded after the 4 of them had finished. "There are no loopholes to exploit from either side. Good. Nothing new either. You're starting to redeem yourselves in my eyes. Considering I actually respect Samus for what she's done, I don't know if that's an insult or a compliment." Naruto signed the final spot for him and acknowledged, "Insult was to the Federation. Compliment was for you. I like you, I just don't trust you. You're so much like Samus it's not even funny." Naruto shot back, "She's my aunt, what do you expect?" Samus had just signed her points when he glanced at her. "Your nephew? What can I say? He's got a bit of his mother, his father's looks, and I'm also like his mother in personality. I'm a Class 6 protector, so is he. That explains it. A Class 6 protectors don't get along that well with the Federation military, one of the reasons you left. The X incident was the final straw. It's why I retired. After that, I just took bounties. Plain and simple." Samus sighed. "I'm fine where I am. I'm with family now." Before turning to face Naruto, Blazinda said, "I'm grateful for that. You're always welcome in my home. And your nephew as well. If you ever need a place to stay, I've got a place on Etna 3 you could use. That's where I stay these days when I'm on vacation. You're welcome to use it if you're in the area. Remember that. I still don't know how the hell he got so knowledgeable on programming. You were exactly number 1 on the subject, Samus. Samus gave a headshake. Then she had an idea. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. How long are you planning on staying? I've got 6 weeks before I have to return. I've got a secondary mission. To make sure that you and Naruto remain safe. Though really, I think they want to keep an eye on you for some reason. They think I'm borderline treasonous, but I don't really work for them. I'm not obliged to follow their orders. I can't be a traitor to them, because I am not one of their subordinates. I'm a retired Federation soldier. They can't argue that fact. My resignation was turned in, so they can't call me a fugitive based on treason. Good choice. I wish I had the skills or guts to do that. I'm too valuable to them. They can't kill me, because they've got no one as good as I am," said Samus. "This isn't arrogance or an ego boost. It's a fact. Sylux and I are 2 of the best in Federation history, and I was constantly called the best of my time. I've taken out things that would normally require battalions of experienced soldiers single-handedly." Blazinda shook his head and said, "I know that, Samus. Still, you shouldn't go announcing it to everyone you know. And by the way, I think I could believe whatever the hell got him so smart. With you, anything is possible. I've learned that from experience." The X incident didn't exactly go as I had planned it to. A few years ago, when Naruto was still a kid, one the Saw X from the BSL near State Route 388 survived and made it here. It absorbed into him and his body adapted to it. He's a walking X generator. It's one of the reasons I don't want the Federation getting their hands on him. Sylux and I have an agreement. If they have any intentions of harming him in any way, or manipulating him, which is impossible, the 2 of us will kill the perpetrator. No questions asked. I hope you realize that I'm not kidding with this. Naruto spoke as the Federation soldiers pointed their guns at an ANBU that materialized in front of Sarutobi. "Stand down, not a threat." Hokage. "Sama, the council is calling about the ship here. They're not liking the fact that it was kept secret from them." With a sigh, Naruto turned to face the Hokage. "Gigi, tell them this verbatim. If it actually concerned you, you would have been told when I found out about it. Therefore this meeting is not valid, so fuck off." Naruto took a moment to think. "Throw in a little key when you do. Show them the Kami no Shinobi that you were named in your prime." "God of Ninja?" asked Blazinda. "He's not the most powerful shinobi in the village for no reason. The Federation has no hold here, but given the fact that this place has 2 of their suits and a replica of one that is fully functional, they really have no choice in the matter. If they did nothing, then they would lose, and we win. Naruto just got it to a win-win if accepted, or we win, they lose if not accepted," Samus responded. "The kid's a natural negotiator, that's for sure. He's aiming to be Hokage of this place, like his father, and my brother," Samus murmured. "It's too bad things are going to change around here. Is there any chance we could annex this planet in the future? It would help out quite a bit." Samus gave a headshake. "There's a balance of power on this continent alone. If the balance is disrupted, then nothing short of all-out chaos will be around." Blazinda gave that a nod. "Annexing this planet will not work until the balance can be shifted enough to make one power that controls it, which then allies with the Federation. Probably the only thing that can be done. Still, the balance is shaky as it is. I've been going out and getting local bounties, none of which require me to leave the planet. I've seen the balance of power. It's not good enough. A single big enough move will break the balance, and cause massive chaos. I've also done everything I can to find out rumors. Turns out there's a legend regarding someone from the Federation here, as well. I'm actually surprised. The guy was from the Alimbic cluster, to boot. I recognized the scriptures. It's the exact same scriptures I saw in the Celestial Archives there. So, we've got a possible connection. Basically, yeah. Sarutobi had departed at some point during the explanation, but the 20 hidden Anbu remained. When Naruto said, "Come on. Since I'm technically working with the Federation, everyone took notice. I think it's time to show you what I've been working on. It's still a work in progress, but I will have you know that the Federation will not be able to use this one. It's just downright impossible. They can't control it. Hell, even Samus wouldn't be able to control it without a certain piece, which only she, myself, and Sylux have." Samus asked, "Wait, you're taking them to the station?" Naruto told her, "The others already know. They're ready for anything. Besides, it doubles as a training ground for me. They're willing to test me to the utmost, if I ask them to." What is he talking about? A safer version of a past threat that I stopped. When I arrived, I thought of them as the threat I knew them as. Over time, I saw that this portion of them only wanted to be left alone. It helps that I can understand their speech now. They still prefer Naruto over me. Anyway, let's get going. In TG-69, Naruto guided the scientist and soldiers to the portal, which led to TG-69N, where they all found themselves in the docking bays, much to Colonel Blacinda's surprise. Why does this look like the dock bay for the BSL research station near where State Route 388 was? As Naruto clarified, it was the basis for it. A Core X floated up to them before turning into a nun. X, the entrance to the Forbidden Labs where the Metroids were being cultivated, leads to another area. Welcome back, sir. I thought that all of you are in Sector 1 making sure everything is correct. Why are you here? The first batch has everything correct, and we have been split into teams of 5 to roam the station for team training. We are sticking to the environmental sectors, mainly. Also, Ridley X has reappeared. Word of warning. Naruto gave a nod. Get back to your team. Remember, teamwork is important. Blazinda glanced at the nun. X, then Naruto. This is something you've been working on? Naruto gave a nod. Tu saw. X survived the explosion. I don't want to assume which one survived, but I'm willing to bet the one that fell with the Forbidden Labs is the other one that survived. The first one was absorbed into me, and gave me my suit. It's why my suit has the old code Samus's suit had. Oh great. The Federation would both love and hate this information. They'd love it because a pair of Saw X survived. They'd hate it because they can't control them at all. You seem to know more than you let on. As they ascended the stairs to the command deck, Naruto acknowledged, I don't know the Federation personally. I just know their type. That one call gave me all the information I need on what they are, not really who they are. I would not get along with them in the slightest. One of the reasons I prefer to stay out of their jurisdiction as long as I can. However, with a threat that has just recently been found, it turns out that I might need a retreat that they can't reach at the moment. Blazinda gave a nod, and 10 minutes later they arrived at the command deck. Naruto entered a few commands when they arrived at a console, and a picture of Tsunami appeared. Tsunami. Naruto. Oh. What is going on? Remember when I told you about the Federation? And that they may come after me? They simply arrived, didn't they? Yeah, they did. How's Zabuza doing? Actually, good. He remained here after learning that Kiri's civil war was over. How is Haku doing? She's doing good. Sasuke's been treating her right, and is no longer a flight risk. Seriously, the only reason the two haven't tied the knot yet is because Sasuke is waiting for Chunin rank. He's lined up for it now. Sakura and I are as well. Aren't the Chunin exam finals approaching? Yup. Sad thing about this. Orochimaru is planning an invasion of Konohagakure during the finals. I've got an insider that listens to me, as he's a Jinchuriki as well. He's got Ichibi. Nibi Jinchuriki is in the finals as well, while I am the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. So, how's the projects I sent coming along? It's actually pretty good. Your water transportation ideas have gone incredibly well. Not so much, however, in flight. It'll take a bit for that. In fact, I was not surprised that flight hasn't been working that well. I'd figure that it would take at least 2 years before they would start working out with the current tech. Yes. At least Gato had good scientists, even though he was a bastard, but you've got nothing on them. Mainly X's fault. What about the Imperial sniper rifle? It's finished. They each have a small militia, and we have ours. We have enough to eliminate pirates from a distance, so they haven't landed here in a long time. You have our sincere gratitude for this. That's good. I was thinking it would take longer than this. It took 2 weeks to complete, and testing took an additional week. Inari also wants to know when you'll be visiting. Can't for the moment. I've got a lot to work on. I'd let you know when I can, though. Don't worry too much about it. If I weren't a shinobi, I would be able to come already, said Naruto. Okay. Do you want to know anything else? Just make sure nothing happens to your country in the next month. Someone might attack you if the attack here succeeds. I'm currently amassing a force to counter the Saw X, made from my suit data. Orochimaru and the Saw X won't know what hit them. That's good to know. We'll heed your counsel. Waves hero. The phone was disconnected. Naruto let out a sigh. He typed a few more commands, bringing up the Judicator schematics, and said, she always ends the calls like that. Anyway, I've been working on a way to make the Judicator useful without a suit. So far, no luck. The Imperial sniper rifle, currently a success in Wave Country, is the Imperialist used by Trace the Spider Demon. At least it was used by him. The bastard's dead for trying to come after me. Naruto created a shadow clone. Go through the explanations, and make sure that Ceres is ready for a race through Sector 4. According to the clone, right, boss. Naruto exited the room, saying, I'll be in Sector 4. If you need me, let the clone know. With a hint of sadness on her face, Sylux watched him go. No one else picked it up, but Samus did. Samus asked, You falling for my nephew? And then Sylux's cheeks were slightly flushed. I am not. Blackmail, Samus considered. The pink turned completely red. Are you sure? Your face says otherwise. That made Samus laugh. Shut up, he said. Don't worry, if he returns whatever feeling you have for him, then it's up to him. He's too independent for me to guide him there. He knows what needs to be done, and when it needs to be done. Blazinda asked, which reminds me, you ever planning on settling down yourself, Samus? Samus acknowledged, no one's caught my attention, yet. You should settle down soon. I've been trained as a Chozo. I'm good. As long as Naruto finds a nice girl to settle down with, I won't have any complaints. That includes Sylux if she treats him right. Two soldiers, Samus and Blazinda, turned to face the girl, who appeared to be about to pull Hinata. Then Smoo grinned to himself. I wonder if she would want to bear his children. Thunk Sylux had just collapsed to the floor, unconscious. Blazinda and Samus laughed at that. She said it was so worth it. So true. To think you could make the great Sylux faint. Add another to the list of impossible acts you've completed.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.